It's so stupid, it's positively brilliant.
The Brilliant Idiots Podcast.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Announcing a plane.
Are we going? And then with Romo, I say
We ain't stopped.
because people about
Slide over a little bit more. TL, thanks, man.
if Romo was as good as
A commentator is.
a football player as he is a commentator,
He'd be unstoppable.
he'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But it's a difference when you got people chasing you and then you sitting there articulating or calling a game and telling people, okay, this is what is about to happen.
And then it happens.
I would have done this, that, and the other.
Right.
When you're not under pressure.
Are we recording this? Okay, good. I'm glad we got all of that. This is we're gonna start it just like that. This is the Brilliant Idiots Podcast. Charlamagne the God.
Andrew Schultz.
We have two special guests in the building. Host of the Get Your Popcorn Ready podcast.
Get your popcorn ready.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna say Matthew Hatchette first, just out of respect.
As well you should,
Okay,
young man.
and then Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens.
Terrell
T.O.
like Cheryl.
Yes,
It's
Terrell.
like-
T.O.
Yeah.
Let's get your popcorn ready
Yes.
with Hatch and T.O.
However you today it'll be that.
We're talking about the Romo situation because I asked T.O. earlier, was Romo a better quarterback or announcer? Because when you're sitting there, you're like, if he can see if he knows what's going on, why didn't he know that when he was a player? And you just explained it perfectly.
Yeah. Do I need to explain?
Yeah,
it
go
again?
ahead. Why not?
Well, what I said is like, okay, if he, like I said, for him to be the quarterback that he was,
yeah.
and so to sit now where he sits in the seat of announcing games, dissecting, plays before they happen. Again, he doesn't have any pressure coming after him, in a booth as he does on the football field.
Right.
So you don't have those innate abilities to escape, in a booth like you do on the field.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
So most quarterbacks, what you're saying, or a lot of quarterbacks know what's going to happen, but it's different when you got a guy 260 pounds running at you.
And you have 2 seconds to do it.
Absolutely.
Right. So he's not so elite maybe at calling the game. Like if you brought another quarterback who had played the position for just as long, he could probably predict those same plays.
I think, well,
I don't know. Troy Aikman don't do that.
No, 99%
He's
of the
been
players.
concussed. I don't even know if he's there still. Like
But
he doesn't know where he is.
But
Troy
the thing is,
Aikman.
the difference between Troy Aikman and Tony Romo, Troy Aikman has won Super Bowls.
Right.
Tony hasn't really won anything, and that was the knock on him, is that he couldn't win the big game, or he couldn't get the team past.
Okay.
Whatever
Can we? I have a question because I have a
let
theory.
me clear this up. That's not me hating on Tony.
You sounded
just
like a
saying
hater
facts.
right there.
Yeah, but
You sound like a hater.
Right, but people, that's what I'm saying, but people are hearing it and they're like, oh, well, he's hating this, and that, and the other. No, I'm not hating on it. I cried for the guy. Like, in the locker room, like I said, when we're in the locker room, you're a brotherhood. And that's, I ride it, I died, cried for my dude. You know what I mean? Because I thought the questions at that time was unfair. And to clear, so bring everybody up to speed is, we got into the playoffs. He was dating Jessica Simpson at the time. We had a week before playoffs started, and they went to like Cancun or Cabo or something. Him and Jason Witten and everybody else. And then everybody's like, "Oh, well, he's not focused." Blah blah blah. Then we came back and we lost the game. So we got press conference. And they tried to blame it on. That was his trip was the why we lost the game.
What'd you do that week?
That has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
I think I had a high ankle sprain, so I was getting treatment around the
You
clock.
always hurt.
Yeah, bro.
To be such a physical specimen, you sure always hurt.
That's kind of a point, T.O. You are hurting the big moments.
Right,
But to your credit, you did play.
But I came through in the big moments too. Whereas you asked me about the McNabb situation. When I was in the hyperbaric chamber getting treatment around the clock, little did I know he's out the night before the game, getting boozed up, this and that and the other. Then all of a sudden we're in the game, and then he gets sick.
So
We end up losing.
You're saying the getting sick was from the booze?
He was hungover?
24-21, we end up losing the Super Bowl.
So
but everybody was like, but I never. The thing is, I had 2 screws and a plate in my ankle. So my focus was honestly,
You weren't even supposed to play.
right.
Yeah.
So my focus was solely on
unreal.
getting ready and being prepared for the game. So I had no idea till a week later that he had thrown up in the huddle. Hank Fraley, who was our center at the time, and Freddie Mitchell, they're the ones I think kind of acknowledged, or, they was the first ones to mention that he had gotten sick in the huddle. I did an interview. I was in Miami, some reporter, what have you. And so he asked me about the incident. And I said, and my response was, I said, if anybody should have been out of shape, it should have been me, because I hadn't played in like about a month and a half.
Yeah.
So I never said anything about him being sick in the huddle or him throwing up in the huddle. But with my response, it came out the next week. Oh, Terrell's criticizing Donovan. He said he threw up in the huddle. He was out of shape. Listen, I never said
You
it.
actually just said Donovan McNabb got drunk the night before the Super Bowl.
I said that's what
You said
I heard.
boozed up.
Yeah, he was boozed up. But I said I didn't know this is what.
Where
I
was the
heard.
soup?
Trust me, I don't know. I mean, all these years, bro, like I said, everybody has criticized me and said that I broke up the team. And he just recently come out and said, "Oh, I prevented them from getting, to the Super Bowl or making a Super Bowl run that the following year when." The year of the Super Bowl, 2 weeks prior to the Super Bowl, they were asking him, about my availability, for the Super Bowl. And he was basically saying that he didn't need me. They didn't need me. We got to the Super Bowl without T.O. because they played those 2 playoff games without me. So why would you now come out and say, "Oh, I prevented you from getting to the Super Bowl the next year," when you just said you didn't really need me? I brought a lot of swag, a lot of energy, a lot of professionalism, a lot of big plays to Philadelphia when I came over. From San Francisco, and I think that kind of energized and that kind of stuck with the team, and that kind of flowed through the season. They rode that energy that I brought into the playoffs.
If for both of y'all, because both of y'all play football, the night before a big game, shouldn't players protect each other from like going out and getting drunk or getting high or being with women?
Right. But you would think, especially how he's regarded to be a consummate pro professional. He's a quarterback, captain of the team. You would think that he would be the guy to make sure that those things,
In good locker rooms, usually they do, right? Good locker room, all the veterans are making sure the younger guys are in by a certain time, or like I said, there's no reason to go out because we're here for one goal. When you have like a younger team or like younger leaders, then they think that's what it's about. But most of the time, most good teams do have a good locker room, and they kind of police themselves.
I wonder if it was nerves though. Like the night before a big game, do you got to go out and try to do something to take the edge off?
You do the exact same thing. You should do the exact same thing you've been doing all year.
Yeah,
especially if you're a veteran.
Coaches,
but if you win, no one cares, right? Like, Michael Jordan's out gambling until like 4 a.m. in the morning.
But he was a freak of nature. Jordan could do
Michael
that.
Jordan and Donovan in the same. That's just the same basketball.
I know. What I'm saying is winning cures all.
You can't.
MJ,
no,
Kobe.
you can't be in that conversation neither.
Wait, did you just put you and MJ and Kobe?
That's what I'm saying.
You're here. There's MJ and Kobe not here, bro. Come on.
I'm here because they're not here.
Okay, let's talk about.
I've been trying to tell him the same thing. He's not on that level.
MJ and Kobe, well, obviously Kobe, rest in peace, but like MJ and Kobe, they're doing different things because they transcended the sport. Right.
So I didn't transcend what I did as a receiver, a big receiver.
I'll give you that, but you're still not on their level.
I will say this about receivers. I think that receivers are the most dynamic position.
Say what
possibly.
you say. Come on, get that same energy.
Come on, can I build? Can I butter up? Can I butter up first?
No, don't butter up.
No, you won't need this butter. So I think it's the most dynamic, probably the most dynamic athletes in sports. I also think it's the least effective position in helping your team win. I would never pay a wide receiver.
I think a word
ever.
you said is useless.
I think it's the most useless position in terms of helping your team win.
Yeah, I get what you're
Why
saying.
would you say?
Okay, so
receiver?
I just don't know an elite receiver that's won a Super Bowl in the last decade.
Both of them are receivers.
But it
I know.
Okay, so
I was an elite receiver.
Energy is always
hold on. Let me get him. Let me get him, T. Let me get him, T.
Who's there come first on the pod?
So I would say that I'm an elite receiver.
You are no doubt an elite receiver.
So if Donovan wasn't get sick in the Super Bowl, we would have won.
If he wasn't drunk, hung over.
So to your point, to discount your point that you've never seen an elite receiver win a Super Bowl.
No, in the last decade. I don't know.
Okay, cool. Okay, go.
The last one I can remember is Marvin Harrison. And do you guys remember the?
He wasn't. That's not.
If he's not elite,
that's not the top 10
my
ever to
stats were
play.
better than his.
And again,
so then you're making my point.
I see what you're saying.
Let me finish the point though. The point is because the game is not in your control.
Right.
Okay. So you guys can be as great as you want to be.
Exactly.
Okay. But you catch the ball 8 times a game. That's an amazing game.
Right.
Only 8 possessions you affect the game. Right. You're not really blocking.
You are blocking on every single play. So don't say that ever again. But go ahead.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
not
blocking
true.
a linebacker at 250. You're blocking a cornerback 5'11".
Sometimes we are, but go ahead.
Okay. So you're not truly affecting the outcome of the game as much as other position players. For example, offensive, defensive line. Like those those are the only people I would pay. Offensive, defensive line, quarterback maybe. I don't even think you got to be that
So
good.
who you gonna pay then?
Offensive, defensive line. You pay the defensive line.
I'm all for
Okay,
them. They're
okay.
underpaid.
Let me-
Defensive line-
They're grossly underpaid, and it's their fault.
But you
that they-
guys are exciting. You guys sell the tickets, and the people who sell the tickets get money. Don't get me wrong. The
get
one-handed
that.
catches, OBJ. I don't know if OBJ ever going to win a Super Bowl. Probably
go.
not.
Go.
Okay, so what you're saying is, right, there's 11 players on the field, right?
Yeah.
You take those 2 or 3 receivers, top 3 receivers. If you take them out and just put in regular dudes,
Yeah.
what do you do when it's 3rd and 7? What do you do when it's 3rd and 11? What do you do in the last 2 minutes of a game? Because if those receivers are not getting open,
Throw to the
and
tight
then-
end.
No, so you don't have one, right? You don't have because he's not as good as a receiver. Let's just say he's blocking.
And you
That's
never-
who scores
hold on,
touchdowns in the
you
Super
just
Bowl.
No,
mentioned
that's
tight
not-
end.
that's
You
not-
never
hold on.
mentioned tight ends.
Tight
not
ends
once.
block every position.
Okay, so
tight
hold
ends
on,
affect the game.
hold on.
Exactly. So
Hold
they're
on.
an offensive lineman and a receiver.
So
Best of both
so
worlds.
how's the tight end going to be factored into this equation, which he's trying to explain to you?
But no, let's just say he's not in this equation, right? He's blocking because you have to be blocked up. We need max protection because our quarterback's getting beat up, let's say, right?
Okay.
So you only have 3 receivers. We can go 4 receivers, right?
Okay.
If those guys aren't catching the ball, how are you advancing the ball down the field?
I throw a screen.
That doesn't work. Come on now. Come on.
That's what I
You
would
can
do.
only.
Y'all not gonna do
But
anything.
you
I
can't.
throw a
You can only.
screen,
You
bro.
got
That's
2.
what I do. I mean,
doing
yeah.
this podcast.
Okay,
wide receivers are useless, bro. It's just a useless position.
That's
Not,
why
not,
you-
not in that moment that Hatchette just explained. In that match that he just explained, they are the
Okay,
most important
that
person next
one
to the
moment-
No,
quarterback.
it's
maybe
not one.
sure.
There's how many
Every
third downs
once
in
in
the
a while.
game? There's 15 to 20 third downs in the game, right? You're going to have 2 2-minute situations in every game. So you're talking about out of all of those plays, you take out the receivers, you cannot advance the ball. And how many times have you seen?
You can have receivers. They just don't have to be that good. They
But
could be
they
a guy
do
who's a
have-
bouncer or one oak.
But what if they don't catch it? Because you want to know what guys who are average that play receiver, they don't catch the ball. Number one.
Why can't they catch the ball? We're talking
Because-
about NFL receivers. At the
Hold
end of
on,
the day,
wait,
they
wait,
can
no,
catch
no,
the ball.
wait,
No,
Okay,
can you
let's
get?
go Tom
Let me see.
Brady.
Let me see that. Let me see that ball.
Tom
over there.
Brady. No,
Let me-
let's talk about
Get
Tom
that
Brady.
ball.
No,
Get
No,
that
no,
ball.
no, no, no.
Get that ball.
Let's talk about
Let me
Tom
see it.
Brady. Yeah.
So this is easy to catch.
100%.
You just dropped it.
You threw it on my elbow.
So
Now you're throwing like Donovan McNabb, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
So you're saying the average guys don't.
You see that?
You caught with
You
your
saw
chest.
that catch with the
That was
hand.
horrible. That
Never
was
with the
horrible.
chest. Catch with your hand.
But to
Only
your-
horse catch with their chest.
But to your point, you see why the New England Patriots?
See that?
But do you see why the New England Patriots suffered? Just for the
How many rings they suffer with?
We're talking. Stay on course.
Look at their
Stay
wide
on course
receivers.
right now.
Wes Welker is 5'2".
No, stay on course.
But he
He
was
should
a
be working in a
player.
Keebler
We're
Health
talking-
House.
That's not a
to
true
your
statement.
point,
That's a dude.
Why did the Patriots suffer this year? Because they didn't have a receiver or a tight end to get open. That was his frustration.
Now, you know what?
To your point,
You make a good point.
I'm just telling
Now
you.
that one year when the Patriots had arguably the greatest wide receiver
They broke
in
every
history,
record,
what did they end up doing at
lost?
the end of the season?
They
Yeah.
lost in the Super
undefeated.
Bowl.
They lost in the
Look,
Super
guess
Bowl
what?
because
Supposed to be so
because
great.
elite wide
What happened?
receivers don't help you win.
supposed to be
They
so
do
great.
help you win when they're used in the right way.
Yeah,
Name
to
one.
help them. Why didn't they win the Super Bowl?
So you think it's Randy Moss' fault?
No. I'm not saying it's Randy Moss's fault. No, don't say. I'm not saying that. But to his point, you're going to need some dynamic receivers.
And so, no, to his point, it was a very not smart conversation you're having because if you take linemen out, it's the same thing. If you take receivers out, it's the same thing. You take the quarter, it's all the same. You need 11 people. Football is the
100%.
best, right, team
There
sport
are-
you'll
It's
ever
an
fight.
amazing
You need
team sport.
everybody.
It's an amazing sport because 99% of people who watch it have no fucking clue what's going on. They're still entertained by it.
Right,
I
but-
am ignorant to what happens. I can't describe what a nickel defense. I can't do all this kind of stuff. I don't
so
understand
you shouldn't
what's
be
going
having
on.
the conversation. Is
All
what
I
I'm
can
saying.
go off is data.
He thinks he can cover both of y'all right now.
I could definitely.
Listen,
I could lock them both down.
Schultz
dust
thinks
them
he can do
both
heart
down.
surgery.
And
He
then
played one-on-one with Jay Williams. He challenged Jay Williams. Jay Williams spotted him 6 points.
That's buckets, though. That's
He-
buckets.
so you
can you hoop? Can you hoop?
Listen, of course I can hoop.
But
You hoop now?
it was a 7-point game.
Oh no, you don't want smoke.
I want the receiver because I want to see you try to cover T.O.
Dude, first
That's
of all,
my word.
I'm the
You don't
best
wanna see
athlete
that.
in this room.
No, you're not.
No,
you're the second
I'm the
best,
best
athlete.
athlete in
no.
this
I can't say
Second.
who's better.
Thank
I
you for
just know
acknowledging.
that.
Thank you for
If
acknowledging
you got
me, Matthew.
analytics, then you would know.
Okay,
Smart guy. If you got
listen, I don't know his
analytics,
analytics.
You don't need to know my analytics. I'm a dude.
Okay, you're a dude. There we go.
That's it. That's all you gotta know. I know. When we say,
I know we gotta say that.
So when we
these
say
days.
dude in sports, that means he's an
You're the
elite
guy.
Elite guy. That's what we
okay.
mean by
Oh,
dude.
gotcha, gotcha.
That being said, I can
Dude.
definitely.
there are elite receivers and there are game changers. There
Yeah.
are playmakers.
What
Yeah.
are you?
I'm one of those two that I mentioned. I'm a playmaker and I'm a game
I'm saying, what do you
changer.
think is higher? Because to me, elite is higher. Well, again, I think an elite receiver is a game changer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Got you.
But do you think that you could catch a pass if I was defending you now?
Man, it's not even a. Don't
Dude,
even.
what?
Why are you even answering the question?
Exactly. I'm not. What?
I'm not seriously.
That's not even a question. Have you ever seen Pros vs. Joes?
First of all,
Listen,
you're
of course.
just like when we
I
played.
beat everyone.
First of all, this is equivalent. This is.
I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated against pros.
This is equivalent when I was with the Niners and we
Bro.
played the New York Giants.
I won't even touch.
And they had Jason Sehorn. I'm not about to let a white boy check me.
Hey.
He just called you.
I love when it turns to race, man.
This is a white man. Jason Sehorn's a white boy. You got a white man right here.
Saying,
You kind of look like
Look
him.
at this.
You
Listen.
look like Sehorn,
Here's the thing.
actually.
Here's
You
the thing.
look like Sehorn.
Not all of us look alike. Now, look.
Oh, let
here's
me
the
tell
thing.
y'all something too. Andrew Schultz is also a comedian.
Okay,
I'm throwing that out there, too.
Hey, with the
But right
first
now-
conversation,
right now, nothing's funny.
Now I get it.
I would have never known.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I would have never known. Never known.
So look, at the line, here's the thing. I won't even check you at the line.
What is check? That's not even a word. What's that? It's not even a check. What's that
I
mean?
play football in the streets, bro. I didn't do this bougie thing that you got.
That's
there. You know what I mean? I
That
don't know.
professional shit y'all
I
do
don't do
here.
that pro shit. Like, I'm out here in the hood playing football.
that's
We
where
say
it stayed.
check at the line.
And that's where it stayed.
We
It
say,
never
I won't even
advanced.
do the thing
Look
where
at
I
his
push you
hands.
back
Look
and
at
you
his
fall.
hands, though.
You know what I mean?
Look at his
Look at the size of these motherfuckers. These are
No,
mixed.
it's the position.
You know what they said? This is interception. That's what that is right there.
What does that
That's
mean,
light
Matthew,
work.
when you still get his hands?
The way he would, because to us, he's saying press, and if a DB comes up and presses like this, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Like you better get down here and maybe have one out like this, extend your elbow. But
He's old. He's 59.
And
I was
There's
hilarious.
no way.
I
There's
will-
no way, bro.
What?
Like this. Look. Like this.
Oh,
I
my
give you
God.
one little. One inch
see
punch,
that?
Bruce
Little-
Lee style.
that's
One little
horrible.
1 inch punch, and
That's
you're gonna go like
horrible.
this. And you go, oh
Let's do it
god,
right now.
and you're gonna do
It's
button
good.
hook,
No, this is
button
good.
hook.
How many yards is this? Let's do it right now. It's about what? Let's do it right now. Quick going. Let's go in the hall.
Hold on. Let's go. Look. But listen, here's it. Do you want me to press you at the line or no?
That's on you. What you want?
But here's the thing.
Make it light on yourself.
Light on myself
Yeah,
is
make it
honestly
light on-
light on myself is I just shatter you because you can't beat me with speed. So there's no way.
I like that.
I have new sneak. I got
you
New
are-
Balance.
What you think, Matthew?
I got New Balance, bro. It's got balance in the
We
word.
should do it right
How
now.
am I
Like,
supposed to?
real quick. It's just a little throw.
First
Just
of
a little
all-
throw. Let's do
First
it.
of all, he's already beat saying that I
already
don't
beat.
have speed.
Yeah.
I wasn't known for speed anyway.
I know
But if
that. That's why I said it.
Analytics
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
me and see if I've ever been caught from behind.
I listen. That's your personal life, bro. I don't want to get
That's
into
a
that.
language?
I
What's
wa-
that? What's that?
You know what?
What's that? What language is that?
He
Hey,
just called you the Michael Sam of wide receivers. You didn't even catch it.
He Michael Samji.
oh man, I like
This guy.
Where's Michael? Say he's not in the XFL.
Oh man.
No.
You know what I wanted to ask you? We didn't get a chance to talk during the interview. How did you feel about Andy Reid winning the Super Bowl?
I was happy for him. And for me, like I said, playing in Philly and obviously the way that things went down, you know, me not being able to continue on. I got suspended my second year. And then just the way our first year went, that's what they brought me to Philadelphia to do, to help get them beyond the 4 NFC championships that they had been to prior. And as I mentioned to you earlier, some of the guys they can attest to. Brian Westbrook has said it. Brian Dawkins. Those guys know I brought an energy over there. I brought swag over there, and that took them through the playoffs. When I had gotten hurt, being dragged down for the horse collar, and I was injured. That energy that I brought throughout the course of the season, that propelled throughout the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So for me, I felt like I let the city down. Because that's what I wanted. I wanted to get to the Super Bowl. We played in the Super Bowl. I played with 2 screws and a plate in my ankle.
I thought they said you had a broke leg, which you did.
I did. I had a broken fibula.
Ankle.
Wow. No, I had 2 screws and a plate in my ankle. I had
And one in your head.
a severely sprained ankle, and my fibula was broken. And so the only thing that bothered me was the break. So when I went out pregame or what have you, they tried to tape my ankle up. That was the worst thing to do because it hurt really bad. So I went back inside, talked to Rick Burkhardt, he's still with Andy, won a Super Bowl. He's a head trainer for the Chiefs as well. And so I went in and I told him, I said, dude, I said up by my knee, I said, it's the break. I said, it's hurting really bad. So what he did was he basically just took some tape, because when you walk and you distribute your weight distribution, your bones naturally spread. And so that's what was bothering me. So they basically just put some tape around it that kind of eliminated it. Eliminated some of the pain, and so I was good to go. And so again, I tried to do everything within my power. I knew that I wasn't 100%, but I gave it all that I had, knowing that prior to getting to Philly, when I got to Philly, how the fans embraced me, going to Lehigh University, having 10,000 plus people that I practice every day. That's what really made me want to really play in that Super Bowl, even though, like I said, I even had to sign a waiver just to play in the Super Bowl. So the
What did the waiver say?
So they wouldn't be liable because the doctor that performed my surgery, he didn't medically clear me. Wow. So I couldn't just be on the football field. Otherwise, somebody was going to be liable. So I had to sign that waiver in order to play in the Super Bowl.
Why was it that important to you, though? Because you had a future after that game. So why was that so important?
If you realize, that was the only Super Bowl I ever played in.
Yeah.
So again, everybody, if you're unlike the Patriots, you're not going to get to the Super Bowl very, very often. And so for me, I just felt like within my power, everything that I had done throughout the course of my career, like I'm a man, I'm a God-fearing man. I was raised in the church. My grandmother always told me just put faith in him and you can do anything that, you put your mind to. And that was pretty much the premise of why I wanted to get back on the field. It wasn't trying to outshine or anybody. I knew that if God gave me that ability, and the trainers put everything that they did behind me to get on that football field and I could play, then that's what I was going to do.
Matthew, let me ask you, because I want an objective opinion on this. Mm-hmm. Does that help or hurt a team? Right? T.O. hasn't played in a while. He comes back. He's not 100%. They might have established a different type of chemistry.
Yep.
Does that help or hurt?
At that time, it helps because that's your superstar. Like, and when Kevin Durant came back, right, for that game, that energy that's in the building, that's in the city, it definitely helps. It helps every player, especially the role players. Because again, don't forget, they won 2 playoff games. So the role players, like, I've done my portion. I raised my level up, but I might not be able to do it this third game. Whew, I'm glad I got my big brother back. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely helps in all those scenarios.
And I would have thought that was the approach that Donovan would have taken with me being out, those 2 playoff games. He's been politically correct all his life. You know what I mean? But when it came to me, for some odd reason,
maybe he don't like you, dog.
Like I said, that's what I took from it. Is that what is it against? What is it about me that you dislike?
What do you think it was?
If I don't know, and if you're going to get mad at anybody, why not get mad at the media for asking you that question? But you've been politically correct every other answer. Why not be politically correct when it came to me about whether I was going to play or not? He could have found a number of ways to answer about me not not being available to play in the Super Bowl.
Why do you think he started taking shots at you now? That was like last month.
Last year, a couple of weeks ago.
Honestly, I don't know. And so for me, like I said, I thought it was dead. I thought it was done. I've seen him a few times. After that, we played in Larry Fitzgerald's softball game on the team, whatever. I thought everything was cool. But at the end of the day, like I said, when you're trying to stay relevant for whatever reason, and as I mentioned to you earlier, I've never been had any off the field problems, any issues. For him, the league, the team, guys have put him in such high regard. Who's had the most off the field issues? How many DUIs have he had? How many sexual assault situations?
Me too. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
You call me too's?
Yeah, he's on that list, bro.
So again,
really,
I've always, like I said, bro. I appreciate the question about accountability, bro. I've always been accountable for what I've done, and even when people have accused me of things that I haven't done, like I said, I'm always going to defend my character. The reputation is what people think of you, and like for me and my character, I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of who my grandmother raised, and so after all of that, if I'm such the bad person that the media has portrayed me to be all the years, you would think that it would translate or transfer to post football.
So you and Donovan never had a meal together? Y'all never had any type of relationship?
After he cursed me out in the huddle, bro, I canceled all of that.
Really?
It would be like that. You don't know. We teammates or whatever.
Yes.
And I'm in the huddle and I don't throw. You're me. I'm Donovan. You come to me like, T, I was open on this play. I
don't want no fucking suit.
We don't. Right. So I'm gonna give you this scenario. So we don't work on this play. I think it was the Browns or the Giants. I can't remember who it was, but we ran this particular play. I'm number 1 in the progression. The play worked to a T in practice. We didn't even have to tell that. Sometimes they'll scheme and tell the defense what to do, but we didn't even have to do that just because the play was so potent. Did it in practice number of times, did it in the game, it worked to a T. Everybody knew the play was coming up. I ran the route, ran to the sideline, the defender bit, I'm up the sideline. I'm wide open. He doesn't even throw the ball. So before I even just judge anything, I come back to the huddle because I didn't see what was going on. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he got flushed out the pocket or whatever the case may be. I said, dude, I was wide open because when I came out of my route.
What was your tone when you said that?
Yeah, I don't think you said, dude, I was wide open.
That's the question.
No, first, exactly. And I'm glad you asked that. My tone wasn't demonstrative. Nothing. It was no different than any other time. I was like, dude, I was wide open. It was just me talking to him.
No profanity, no nothing?
No. Dude, he looked at me and told me, shut the fuck up. After that, bro, so I could have addressed it in the huddle, but we were during the game. I said, no, I'm gonna chill out. We came out on that series. I even asked my position coach. I'm like, what happened on that? My coach looked at me with kind of like just bewildered. He's like, I don't know. I said, was he flushed out of the pocket? And he's like, nothing. So after the game, I went to my locker, we're in the locker room. I waited, like I said, at this time, like I said, I know that the perception. So I know people thinking, oh, he's going to, he's destroying the locker room. There's always something. So I waited till the locker room cleared out. It was a couple people in the area while we were getting dressed. And before he left out of the area, I just addressed him. And I said, look, dude, at the end of the day, I said, I'm a man, you a man. I said, I didn't come at you sideways or what have you. All I said was I was open. I said, don't ever address me like that again. And so from that point on,
did he say something back to you right there though?
You believe that?
How did he respond? Like when you said that, did he respond?
I can't remember what his response was, but he looked at me, addressed it or whatever. But at that point, I was like, bro, I just couldn't take the disrespect.
Because if you look at it from a quarterback position, right, when that happened, if he would have addressed it, he should have been like, well, look, something happened on that play, which he was frustrated, and he took out his frustration on you during the moment.
Right.
But you would have took that as an apology, but you're saying that never happened.
That never happened. Okay. But and the thing is, I already asked the coaches what had happened. They had a bird's eye view.
Yeah. I mean, something could have happened, though.
Right.
Something could have happened.
Exactly. But they're watching the game. I know my coach is not going to lie to me. I asked him, I said, well, what happened on the route? He's like, I don't know. I said, was he flushed out of the pocket? And no, there was no reason for him not to throw the ball. And I was number one in the progression.
Maybe you weren't open.
That's what I'm trying.
I'm not talking to you.
Maybe first of all,
because I'm saying from the quarterback position,
I think you were locked up. Like I would lock your ass up on that same play. Probably. You thought you were
security.
open. You thought.
Can we get the heckler?
And then
You sound ridiculous,
dude.
I also want to say
I'm just
too.
saying, I'm right there.
Because draped. When we talk about Donovan McNabb, we said to me too. I want to be clear about that. It was sexually harassing a colleague. He sent a colleague a lewd text message. So I don't want people to think that he was
okay.
Because there's levels to it, right?
That's why I said it was something sexual. Some sexual misconduct.
Yeah, not saying that's wrong, but I mean,
there's levels.
You guys have sent lewd text messages before. I'm sure.
Why is that a bad? Oh, in the workplace, it's bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right in the workplace, and he's married.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Huh?
I never.
Teach. You can't do it. You can't do that.
What you mean?
You can't.
But he said he didn't know. I know, but you can't.
Terrell throws under the bus. He throws under the bus.
That ain't under the bus. You're just telling us.
He's under there. Make sure he's under there.
His wife
But how is that under the bus, nigga? That's just the real. He is. I'm just saying
But
he's
you can't
married.
say that though.
Come on,
Why
bro.
can't I say
You let
he's
somebody
married?
else say that.
man.
You let
We're
somebody else say
guys.
that.
Well, I ain't
At the end of the time.
Yeah, that's bro code, right?
It's
What?
bro
But
code,
he
bro.
bro code too, cussing me out. That's bro code.
No, bro code is you gotta curse somebody
No,
out. It is what it is.
On the football field, shut the fuck up is kind of appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm sure you told somebody shut the fuck up.
No, I would never.
No,
I was a great teammate. I was
I've
a great
never done that,
teammate.
bro. That's the thing. Your perception is again because of media portrayal. You would think that I would say something like that.
I would definitely think you would say something like that.
I've never. But
no.
Be real.
Okay, but no.
No, be
you
on the real.
saying throw me the effing ball would be the same thing as him saying shut the F up.
How they gonna throw you the ball if I'm
But
here?
I never told him that. I get that.
Impossible.
But just being real, like perception wise, you would think that, but you know me and you've been around me, and I'm not going to say anything like that. That's the thing.
You seem like you got a different level of discipline, though. I mean, I can tell just by the way you work out.
That's just how, bro. I've never been given anything.
Yeah.
Like growing up in Alexander City, Alabama, and seeing guys that were better than I was, not playing, sitting on the bench. That's football, basketball. Not, I was running track just to get myself better, knowing that I didn't have any speed. I wasn't running any sprint. I wouldn't run no 100s. I wasn't running any 200s. That wasn't me.
What was your 40 time?
Coming out of college, I ran a 4.63.
Oh, you get locked up.
Right, but exactly.
No. What was
4.3 out the block.
Who clocked you as a 4.3? Your aunt?
I got a guy, man.
A guy? I got a guy.
Right.
I got it.
You see this? This is raw again.
But tell me, how many track people do you? How many track people
5'7"
do you
and got
notice running
size 14
4.3?
shoes. You cannot be a 4.3.
That's
I'm
what I'm
a
saying.
dude,
There's
bro.
a lot of people. The game is
It's
predicated
different
on
with
speed,
me.
but you can have speed. But what can you do?
dog. Look at how light those
I hear you. So that ain't light.
That was heavy.
That was heavy.
The whole building's shaking when you're right.
The building gonna shake. The building gonna shake, T.O.
What was your 40 time, man?
I was a 4.3 coming out.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
I
4.6. I would think receivers got to be fast.
But there's
Most
track,
of them are, yeah.
Right,
He
but there's
got
track
faster
speed,
as he
and there's
stayed.
game
I
speed.
wasn't
those
track speed, just so you can don't throw that in there.
No, I'm not saying that
After
you
I
weren't
say
fast.
that, you can't say after there's track speed because it sounds like you were saying.
No, I didn't.
Okay,
It had nothing to do with you. No, you.
Okay.
Listen,
He
I'm
was
making
fast.
sure.
There was a number of guys that was faster than me coming out of high school, college.
Most of them.
Most of
No
them,
doubt.
yeah,
Most of them are
absolutely.
But
fast.
as I said,
Guys
you've
like
never
us, we're
seen
fast.
me get
It's
caught from
different
behind.
for him.
And when
And he
I
got
caught the
faster
ball,
once he
and
was
when
in
I
How you got
caught the
horse
ball,
collared if you didn't get caught from behind?
and when I caught the ball,
That's a good
How you
question.
got horse collared if you didn't get caught from
I know you
behind?
wanna know.
It was
That's
an
a good
angle.
it's a game called angles.
It's an
It's a
angle.
game of angles.
I don't know what angles
I know
are.
you
I
don't.
just go straight
Now,
and I
I'm not
lock
saying
people
angels, which
down.
you're
Lock them.
not.
You're gonna be called for them angels when I'm playing
Yeah.
defense.
Anyway,
That's
but
what's gonna
there's
happen.
game speed and then there's track speed. If that's the case, there'd be a lot of track guys that are going out for football. You know what I mean? But like I said, there's the game encompasses more than just speed. There's a lot of skill set that you have to have in order to play the game,
Like
especially
this.
receiver.
Like a check.
He wouldn't even get.
That's horrible.
He
Like a
can't even
check.
get in the XFL right now.
He can't even get in
he's
high
not
school.
even-
He can't play high school
Right.
ball right now.
I can't play high school ball because that's illegal.
You can't even joke
I got
your way
it.
onto a team.
I got it.
illegal for me
He's a
to play in high
comedian.
school.
He's a comedian. He
I'm a
can't even
comedian.
joke himself
But when
onto
we
a
get
team.
on the field, when we're on the gridiron,
You're still funny.
do you know what I mean? I'm going
yeah.
to be funny, but honestly,
Funny
the
looking.
joke's on you, bro.
No,
The joke's on you,
Does he
T.O.
remind you of Skip Bayless?
Does this guy?
No, I'm not even gonna give him that much credibility.
That hurt.
Skip.
That hurt. That one hurt.
Skip.
That was deep, bro. You went too deep on that one, bro. You treated me like Donovan.
Skip pay less. That's who you be. Skip pay less.
What do y'all do? Like, I guess, like when you miss the game, like what do y'all do to fill that void?
I never
right?
was I'm a basketball fan. Like he know, like we joking around, but he know I very seldom watch
He
football.
don't even watch ball.
I'll watch
He
it
don't
sometimes,
watch
like just to talk about it in certain. Bro, I never thought I was gonna play, bro. I became very competitive, and I was a late bloomer. So and then I started to realize my skill set. And like I said, going to the Niners, I saw what the best receiver was, the greatest receiver was at that time. And so again, when I say I'm grateful and thankful for the coaches that helped me and saw my potential, then I truly mean that, because they saw what I was capable of and I believed them. When I probably didn't even believe in myself when I got drafted. I didn't think that I was going to end up 2, 3, whatever behind Jerry Rice or be in conversations
Jerry's
with,
number one?
number one. And you
Who's
think
the
about
greatest receiver of all time?
No.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah.
No.
What about Chris Hogan?
When you think, and then
No.
And then you think about Randy Moss.
Son,
When you talk, like,
Chris,
to be in the conversation with those
Edelman?
guys, bro. Trust me,
Edelman?
it's mind boggling because I never thought it.
Do you
But
think
like I
you're
said,
better than Edelman?
So
Oh, wait a minute. Who's number one then, Matt? If it's not Jerry Rice.
I play with both of them. Randy's number one.
Randy's number one, dude.
And the reason is
so
because
rings don't matter in football then.
rings don't matter. No, because
Bro,
of
Hatchette gets it, dog.
Because
T.O.'s
of the
lost.
number
Hatchette
of
gets it.
people, right? The number of people that are involved, right? If you take two players and you have to put two
politically
players
correct.
on
Fucking
one,
played with Randy.
which that's what.
Okay.
Again, that's why. Yeah, but I play with Jerry too. Jerry couldn't do the things Randy could do. Period. He could not run like Randy. He could not.
I couldn't either.
Oh, and he couldn't do anything else that Randy could do. Now,
When you talk about a complete receiver,
what
I'm a
couldn't
complete
Randy
receiver.
do?
He barely went over the middle.
That's okay.
He barely-
Okay.
When you talk-
that was
when you
one.
talk
You
about
got one.
complete-
You got one.
I
Now,
did
if I
all
have
of it.
film and I show him running slants and taking it for 60,
But consistently,
But nobody did it consistently.
He's known. Yeah, I did. He's
No, you
known for
didn't.
catching
Going
the deep
over
ball.
the
going
top.
mossing
That's
people.
not a true. That's not a true statement.
That's what people. That's what they
just
know.
because
him
they
from.
know him. That's not
In
all
your
he was
honest
doing,
opinion,
right?
when you think of Randy Moss, what do you think of?
I mean, those are the highlight reels.
Those are
Going
highlight
deep.
reels, right?
Thank you.
snatching it out the
Right.
air.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Touchdowns
But
are
that's
always
his highlights.
Yeah.
I
Over
get
the
but
middle's never
but I'm
a
saying
highlight.
that's-
Unless
he
you
could go
take
over
it
the-
60, right? So
He would go over the middle and take it 60,
the best
bro.
run after catch guy in the last 30 years is right.
Honestly, he
The
would.
best run after
And he ain't
catch,
run no 4.6.
right? That's T.
Okay,
that's the best run after catch.
Okay.
All the other skills, nobody had a better skill than Randy. Catching, running, nobody had a better skill than Randy. Now, if you
You
take
trying to say that, Jared? That's disrespectful.
It's just the
what
facts,
could Jerry
bro.
physically do better than Randy? You can't name one.
What do you
Physically,
Physically, dog.
he was the
Physically.
only guy that I ever seen catch up to a ball. Right?
mean? You've never seen me. I've
I
caught up
seen-
to some balls.
I seen you.
Wow.
Right?
Hey, yo.
Pause the balls.
That sounds like a little text message. Want to catch up on some balls tonight?
I'm about to
man?
catch your balls.
He said catch up to a ball. So it's the same
It didn't
thing.
sound the same.
It didn't sound- I know it didn't sound right.
Plural, dog. You have to make it plural.
But no, because the thing about if you,
right.
I can take 50 of your touchdowns, right? Here's one thing. You take 50 of T's touchdowns. I can show you 50 of his, and there'll be nobody in the screen, right? Because he outran them. Let's say, right? That's a compliment to T.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I can take 50 of Randy's touchdowns, and there's 3 to 4 people in the scene, which means Randy went up and caught the ball over 3 or 4 people, or he outdueled them for that ball. That was a skill that Randy had that nobody else
But
could
that
do
seems
because of the
subjective,
6.
though.
Well, because that's what I'm
I mean, if
saying.
you're saying
To
T.O.
us
can outrun
as a
the- yeah,
receiver,
Right, exactly. That means
making a play is
I
going
got
up
a
and
skill that he
jumping
doesn't
over.
have.
Is
Go get
going-
the ball,
is
dude.
going to get the
Megatron
ball.
style. Go get it.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, 100%. I
But
agree
yeah,
with you on
run
everything.
after catch. Now he would have 8 people he would run through and stiff arm and go score. So he had that skill. He was the number 1 in the last 30 years to do that, hands down.
Who?
T.
T.O.
What is
Run
he on-
after catch.
What does he rank to you then?
T?
Yeah.
He's number 2.
Whoa.
Hold on. So you think it's Moss?
Yes, T.
T.O.?
Yeah, then Jerry.
You're really trying to stay on this podcast, huh? You don't want this to break up.
That's very admirable of him. That's very admirable of him. But
What do you rank yourself as?
I'm about if he wants to put Randy at number 2, Jerry 1 and T.O. 1A.
See, I don't put Jerry in there. Because Jerry had everything for him. He had the
Quarterback.
quarterback,
Yeah.
number
But that's
1.
not a discredit to
No,
Jerry,
I'm not
though.
discrediting. I'm just saying he had more help. is what I'm saying. Right?
He's
Look,
right.
you had a-
he
you
goes
had a-
from Joe Montana to Steve
Steve Young.
He didn't
Two
have
Hall of
he didn't have a
Famers.
drop off.
So how do we define greatness? Is it numbers or rings?
No, rings have nothing to do with it.
Rings have
When
nothing-
you talk
Because
about
there are a
everybody
number of great players that don't
didn't
have rings.
Barry Sanders didn't have a ring.
The
right?
very guy that you're talking
Right?
about,
Dan Marino
me.
didn't have a ring.
That's right.
You see
Randy
what I'm saying?
Moss.
Randy didn't
Alex,
have a ring.
what about
Randy Moss is great. He doesn't have a ring.
Right.
There's a number of guys that
Yeah.
are great that doesn't
Yeah,
have
rings-
rings, so it
ring-
doesn't
we-
define you. Sometimes guys just get lucky.
To be on the right
There's a number
team.
of guys that you don't even know of. They got Super Bowl rings, so you think they're better than me?
Yeah.
You're saying yeah, or you're in
I'm
agreement?
agreeing with you, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's a first. That's a
Yeah.
good. We got there.
We're making progress.
We're
No,
making-
we are.
we're
So the green
established.
jacket means more than the
But
the
do
ring.
you think
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Gold jacket.
What the
Gold
play?
jacket.
Gold jacket, I'm sorry.
What the
Gold jacket.
players
You
say,
think
like
they
if,
go off.
if the players were to do the top 100, which they should have the players do it and not some writers, that list would be totally different. There's a corner, is probably the top 3 corners that ever played this game, and he'll never be in the Hall. And his name is Dale Carter. If you talk to any receiver or DB in the last 30 years, they will put Dale Carter in the top 3 ever as a corner. But he'll never be in the Hall.
He's a dog, though.
He
Yeah,
was a
dog.
dude.
Why won't he be in the Hall?
Because he was a thug compared to what the media thought he was. But he
Doesn't fit the criteria.
doesn't fit the
for
criteria.
What,
He wasn't a great teammate to everybody. What all that stuff that they want to see now, he wasn't that dude. But when to go out and take away your number 1 receiver and do it every game, all game.
All right, let's take a break from Schultz and T.O. arguing to talk about Squarespace. Turn your dream into a reality with Squarespace, okay? Squarespace makes it easier than ever to launch your passion project. Whether you're looking to start a new business, showcase your work, publish content, sell products, and more, Squarespace is the tool for you. With beautiful templates created by world-class designers and the ability to customize just about anything with a few clicks, you can easily make a beautiful website yourself. Squarespace's powerful e-commerce functionality lets you sell anything online, and analytics helps you grow your site in real time. shine. Everything is optimized for mobile right out of the box, and there's nothing to patch or upgrade ever. Buying domains is simple, and you'll get the help you need with Squarespace's 24/7 award-winning customer support. Squarespace empowers millions of people, from designers to lawyers, artists to gamers, even restaurants and gyms, to turn great ideas into something real. Head to squarespace.com/idiot for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, use the offer code IDIOT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/idiot, offer code IDIOT.
The announcements are a very important part of what we do in church.
Church announcements. Yo, new tour dates added. TheAndrewSchultz.com. Get them everywhere. Get all the tickets right there before they're gone. Pittsburgh, we'll see you this weekend. Then next weekend after that, we're in Miami. And then the weekend after that, we're in Portland. I believe it's Portland. New dates added: Atlantic City, Reading, PA, Tucson, Arizona, a bunch more, all at TheAndrewSchultz.com. There's less than 100 tickets left to the fourth show, the special taping. So make sure if you're in LA, if you're coming to the special tapings, you go get those right now, TheAndrewSchultz.com. Now, let's pay some bills. Let me tell you something. Stop looking like a sucker with your baggy, ill-fitting, button-down shirt. Okay, you have a shirt, you purchased it, it's meant to be tucked in, you wear it untucked, and that's why it looks like trash. Do you want a shirt that's going to fit you well when it's untucked because that's exactly how it's made to be worn? Of course you do, all right? You just go to Untuck It. Simple as that. Untuckit.com. Use the code IDIOTS, you get 20% off your first order. Amazing shirts that actually fit the way you wear a shirt. You're wearing that button down. You do not need to tuck it into your pants because that's not how we wear shirts. We're not going to a business meeting. We're not in the office. We're out here keeping it casual. Okay, maybe we had a lot of chicken wings and nachos over the weekend. We don't want to tuck it in. We don't want that little muffin top. So we wear it untucked. Go to untuckit.com untuckit.com. Use the promo code IDIOTS. You get 20% off your first order. Simple as that. You go, you do it, you look good, you let us know how it is. Now let's get back to the show. What is your opinion on excuse me. There was a little beef between recently between oh my god, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name, but the
Richard Sherman?
Yeah, it was Sherman and
Darrell Revis.
Yeah. But what is your take on Sherman, first of all? You guys
he's a good,
receiver.
I think he's a good, solid, legit corner.
Yeah.
And so is Darrell Revis. But again, if you take those two corners and you put them from 2005 to 2015 or 2008 to 2018, they're still not going up against number one receivers and taking them away. So neither one can talk.
Not even Terrell? I thought Terrell just shut down. They just put
Did you see what Moss did to that boy? No. When he made him pull up, he said there was no way he was never going to go up against T, Moss, Julio Jones one-on-one with no safety over the top. Neither one would do it. So I'm not putting them in those lockdown.
So back in the day, that used to be the case where it would be one guy.
Dale Carter, Deion Sanders, James Hasty, those type of players. Safety was in the middle of the field and the corner was one-on-one. That's a true one-on-one. What Darrell's saying, there's a safety over the top whenever Richard Sherman's going one-on-one. So that's help. That's what they call help.
Cover two.
A cover two, like a two shell. There's a safety over the top.
And he also doesn't travel, right? He just plays one side of the ball.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
Right, and then again, if a guy doesn't travel, maybe that's just a defensive philosophy or their
you can't blame that on the
scheme.
corner.
Right.
If a guy wants to say, "Oh, let me travel with this guy," then kudos for him. But if that doesn't fit the scheme of a defense, then you can't discredit a guy for what the team is requiring of him.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Again,
it's like blaming you for not running the ball.
Exactly.
That's not your position.
It's not his position. Absolutely.
Okay, fine.
But again, I just thought that it was kind of a petty argument. But again, Sherman is on his way. He's trending down as far as physically. His body, he just can't keep up with some of the guys. And for him to kind of take that one play out where the dude ran right by him, like that's going to happen because again, no corners out there can cover a receiver one-on-one all game right now. Just receivers are too good.
How do you know when enough is enough?
Your body will tell you, my personal opinion. Your body starts to just getting up is just different at the age of 28 and 32. Like you're hurting, you're sore. It's like you can't recover. You could fall down or you can get hurt on a Sunday and be back on Wednesday. But when you start, okay, I got to skip Wednesday's practice, and then Thursday I'm kind of back, and then Friday I'm barely back. Like your body kind of tells you.
And I didn't realize it either because when you're playing, you're always gonna think, okay, you can play, you can continue to play on and on and on. But I started to listen. No, you try to listen to your body, but even the coaches, they noticed too. Like when I had a day of rest, this was later on in my career, especially when I was with Buffalo. And so they saw like if I had a day of rest, the next day, my energy was, they saw I was just fly. It was a noticeable difference of a day of rest versus just practicing back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you know, like, okay, obviously, Father Time catches up, but it's all about how you take care of your body too. So nutrition, everything that I did, leading up throughout the course of my career, that's what factored in and enabled me to play the number of years that I did. And eating healthy, like I said, the nutrition part, it allowed me to bounce back from injuries as well and recover from injuries.
Yeah, I was a bubble guy. I could never take a day off. So I don't know. I could get cut at any time. Like how you said, take a day off. If I were to take a day off, no, that wasn't happening. I had to go out there and practice.
Did y'all fuck a lot? Like, how in fighting, like when you box.
That's hilarious.
When you box, you can't like fuck before fights.
It just came out like a regular question. Did y'all fuck a lot?
Training camp, I didn't have sex. I didn't have sex during training camp.
Wait, don't you have a crazy story?
I never even thought about it, to be honest.
No, this is
because there are times like, you've had sometimes like I'm sure, I don't know, boxers say they abstain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I've it's just like sleep. Like I've had some of my best games and not even sleep that well versus sleeping 8 hours, feeling like, okay, you need to maximize your rest time.
Gotcha.
But sometimes sleep deprivation, that has been sometimes like been the best thing that happened to me. Sometimes a lack of sleep or not sleeping enough, short on sleep, best games. But as far as like having sex, night before, whatever, if you can do it, if it happens, then yeah, I mean, it's no different than I'm sure guys jack off. What's the difference?
Fun.
Well, I mean, it's a little bit more
What's the difference?
Demanding.
Right, but you're still exerting a lot of energy. You're still,
Yeah,
you getting the cum out of your balls. I hear you. Wasn't there a story where like you wanted to you like dated your neighbor, and then it turned out it was like you were related or something like that?
No, that was no. That's how I found out who my dad was. I was
okay.
I'm a preteen. I'm like 11, 12.
Yeah.
I live with my grandmother. It's a neighborhood full of kids. Right across the street, there were a house full of girls, 4 girls. And I didn't know at that time, that playing, what were we playing? Kickball or whatever. Females in the neighborhood. I'm a preteen, started liking girls. I started liking one of the girls in the neighborhood. They happened to live right across the street. I used to go across the street, watch TV, hang out with everybody. Come to find out, one of the girls that I ended up liking was my sister. Wow. I didn't know that that was my dad at that point in time. So at the end of the day, that's the gist of that story.
Y'all didn't have any physical attributes like
no, there was no. I mean, at that time, like I said, you don't know.
Yeah, 13, 14. Avatar.
You don't really think of that. And for me, and like I said, being a preteen, that wasn't the furthest thing, in my mind. It's like, okay, it's female, you like a girl.
So how did it come to your attention? Did your dad say it?
No, because again, like I said, they started saying that I was crushing on one of my sisters. So the one that I was liking was Lisa. So they were like, oh, Terrell likes Lisa, And so it got back to my dad. So we had that conversation. Like, yo, you can't like Lisa, blah, blah, blah. And why, whatever. Lisa's your sister. So that was pretty much the gist of it.
How are you and your father now? Because I saw y'all on Fix My Life back in the day.
We're cool. I mean, I think he kind of made some efforts after that show. There was even some incidents where he agreed to do the show, and then he kind of backed out of it. And then Iyanla, kind of talked to him and, encouraged him to be on the show. But I mean, the show didn't really
fix your life.
It didn't fix the relationship. You know what I mean? But other than that, like I said, it was good for me to
fix it for a little bit. I think
acknowledge, kind of, and even get some questions answered, that I never really asked, as I grew up, because I never asked my mom, like, okay, well, what happened and why this and why that? And so being on the show, like I said, that was the first time I ever saw my mom and dad sit in the same room, for more than 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So, again, Iyanla obviously being who she is and hosted a show, like she encouraged, me to ask those hard questions and even them. So for me, it was fulfilling. I think it opened a lot of people's eyes and exposed them to kind of like how I grew up, who I am, what I'm about. And then again, there are a number of relationships that are broken that were similar to mine. And so, I mean, I even, after the show, ran into people, on the streets that said that it gave them courage to reach out to their mom or their dad that they didn't never really had a relationship with, or try to fix, their estranged relationship.
Did it make you feel like a better man? Did you feel like you was missing something?
I mean, I think
closer to wholeness.
Well, the way that I am with my kids, I think I'm a better father to my kids than my dad was to me, and I think that was kind of a way to look at it. As far as how I would like my relationship to be with my kids. I think now it's something that I never really got to experience, and so now with my kids, just sharing that time, being around them, and then, it's quality over quantity. Although I'm not in the same household, I try to make the time that I do spend with them quality time and make it count.
Where do you learn that from, though? Like, where do you learn how to be a good father when you didn't have an example of one?
Through
life
just life, and I think you kind of know what you miss, you know what I mean? And I know how I felt when I didn't have a father. And I didn't really have any uncles or big brothers to lean on. So again, when I talk about, my coaches being, father figures to me, and I can look at other people's relationships and see how they are with their family or what have you. And just that absence of a father and that father figure in my household. And I know how I felt, I know what now to offer my kids. So, and then, like I said, life is precious. I mean, think about what just happened with Kobe. You see the pictures.
Lord have mercy.
Those things right there, it would make you want to have a relationship, with your kids. But for whatever reason, we asked my dad, those hard questions as to why he didn't do certain things or what have you. He gave us our answer, and I gave it this answer, and I can only respect that and I move on from it. So now, like I said, to be in a position to be a dad, be a father to my kids, I think I'm doing a good job. Kobe
was a big Philly fan. Did y'all have a relationship?
Yep. Met Kobe in '99 when I was with the Niners. Went down with a teammate, Merton Hanks. That was my first NBA game. It was a Laker game. Got to meet Kobe afterwards. Took a picture. It's on my social media. And so and then I didn't learn that he was a Philly fan until I was actually playing with the Eagles. And so I got a chance to talk to him. Like, went to several Laker games while in LA. Talked to him. After games, I got to meet his wife, his kids at that time. He didn't have the last two when I met him early on, but. Again, so I saw him last season. Was with his oldest daughter, Natalia. She played at Sage Hill High School, and my daughter plays at volleyball at Culver City High School, and so they played each other. So I didn't know he was at the gym. I didn't know who they were playing. I just walked in the gym. He was up in the stand, and so he saw me. We ended up just conversing, chatting it up, and again. He was talking about business, talking about being a father, supporting his kids, and that's what I was doing too. Being there, supporting my daughter. That's something, again, I never experienced, with my dad. So just now to be present in my kid's life, I think that's the most remarkable thing, because these are things that make lasting impressions on your kids. And so for me, like I said, it hurt me deeply. Like I said, I almost get choked up talking about it. Because he was an inspiration to me, just as Michael Jordan. Like I said, I didn't know anything about football. But when you think about some of the greatest to ever play the game, and you see people that make impacts in people's lives and and be a barometer for success, Michael Jordan was that guy for me. And then I witnessed and I watched Kobe, watching him and just having, like I said, not an extensive conversation, but I watched how he worked. Everybody talk about that Mamba mentality. I had that sort of same approach, with just not to the nth degree that he did, because that was his passion. That was his dream. He wanted to be the greatest basketball player to ever live, like behind Michael Jordan. He wanted to be the closest thing to Michael Jordan that we've ever seen. And I think he was the best clone we've ever saw, to Michael Jordan. And so for me, that's what once I saw and realized my abilities, and the coaches made me know that the potential that I had, that was something that I strive for. And I feel like I did it with my dedication, my desire, my dedication, my discipline. I got to be the best receiver that I could be for myself, knowing that Jerry Rice was the greatest of all time.
And y'all say y'all known each other for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And we joke about like I said, we always talk about, he feels like, Minnesota had the first big three before they had these big three.
We did.
But,
We changed the
ideally, he wasn't even a part of the big three. Wow. That was
He doesn't seem like he's part of this podcast.
hey, first of all,
So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the T.O. show.
we gave him a lot of love on the Breakfast Club. We gave you see
Oh, you let him talk too much? That's what you said?
Oh, that's what you said.
I'm trying to get his Q rating up.
You know what?
I dialed it down a bit. CDG, I dialed it down a bit because I know you got a lot of viewers.
Yeah.
Now people know who Hatch is. I'm trying to get
Who
his
are
Q
you?
rating up.
I don't. Who is this guy? That's what I want to know. Who's the new guy? Who's the new guy?
I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness! You're the worst
The thing is,
ever.
Like, when teams game planned us, there was 3 receivers that you had to look out for.
And for us,
Jerry,
it was 4.
JJ, and myself.
Not when you were young. They didn't look out for you. They did not. You were not in the
JJ,
game plan.
and T.O.
You were not in the
It
game
was
plan
young
when
T.O.
no.
It wasn't the
No.
T.O. that became
You
Hall
were
of Fame,
not in the
but it was
game
young
plan.
T.O. It was one of those guys that you had to watch.
No,
Ain't
it wasn't.
Nobody knew.
Yes.
Nobody knew about Mac.
Didn't I go 80 on y'all? Didn't I go 80 on y'all? Didn't I go 80 on
That
y'all?
was one of his 6 touchdowns that he had.
You gosh dang right. You didn't go 80.
8-year illustrious career.
You had an 80 yard touchdown?
Against these bums.
Wow.
Yeah. And he over there. Well, let me guess. You were hurt that game.
No, I wasn't. I
sure?
didn't even recognize it. I didn't even know you had it till you just told me.
This guy. Okay.
Now,
You gotta look
how
it
would
up.
they scheme for you early on in your
Google
career?
They didn't scheme for him.
No,
Nobody schemes for a number 3 receiver. They schemed for
Was
the
the
number
scheme
1.
to throw at you?
But what? No,
Let
I was
him beat
2
us.
or 3
Yeah.
in the progression. We already knew Jerry was our number 1.
Right.
So to go through those progressions, you have a 2, 3, and a 4,
Right.
and that's usually the tight end. Like I said, I'm being honest. I wasn't that guy.
Yeah.
But I
first 3
was
years,
making my mark. I was emerging as an emerging. I was that guy becoming a star before everybody's eyes. But he can't sit up here and say he was part of the big 3.
What was the big 3? What was the big 3?
Jake
Okay,
Reed,
so I'm
gonna-
Randy
so I'm
Moss,
gonna
Chris
go-
Carter.
the- we-
Where does
we-
he factor into
we
this
had
big
the-
3? He ain't even 3.5.
I'm about 3.5. I'm about
He ain't
3.5.
3.5.
So look, the 98 Vikings team changed the way the whole NFL is seen right now.
Okay.
Because, right, you had Chris Carter, 6'2", 220 guy. Right?
Legend.
Jake Reed, 6'3", 220 guy. Maul, 6'4", 210. And then myself at 6'3", 215. Right?
4-3.
After, right, we set every single offensive record known to man that year.
Right.
The 98 draft, you saw all the defensive coordinators draft big, long corners because of what we were doing. And since that year, all you've seen were big receivers being
What were
drafted.
We were 6'2" and 6'3".
But y'all didn't set the record.
It doesn't matter.
Y'all didn't
I'm
set the
talking
record,
about
though.
the record. The
It's
best
different.
offense
It's different,
to ever
bro.
hit the league was not y'all.
It's
it
not
was
y'all.
us.
It
What
was
is that?
them.
It was us. That
Yeah.
means that
Okay,
means
kudos.
you
Okay.
can't be in this conversation.
Okay,
That's
kudos.
what
You
this
guys
means.
set the
It's a good
record.
point. Thank you.
I'm-
It's a
he's
great.
got a good point.
And since
He's got a
98,
good
all
point.
you've
I don't
seen,
know
that's
what
why
to say.
Julio
I don't know what
Jones
to say.
and your
Julio,
AJ Green.
AJ,
That's all you see
kudos.
now
You know
is
what I
big
mean? That's
receivers.
all big.
It's
But before
hard.
those guys that he just mentioned,
All
who
big.
was on the forefront
Except
of
the
that?
Patriots.
Me.
The teams that win.
Trendsetter.
That's Tom Brady,
Question.
though.
Yak.
Tom Brady.
Tom
Since
Brady.
you've been doing this podcast,
Yak, Rack.
Terrell.
That's my guy.
Terrell, can you?
what's T.O.'s favorite subject to talk about other than himself?
That's it.
First of all,
There is no show without that.
Terrell, do
that's
you
the purpose
agree?
that's the purpose of the show. Get your popcorn ready with T.O. and Hatch. Eventually, we'll
here's his
segue.
favorite.
It'll come to talk about me.
His favorite is his disappointment of him not making the top. Of us not making the top
First of all, there's
100.
no us in this.
Because we both didn't make the top 100.
Top 100 what?
Football players of all time?
Yeah, football players of all
there's no-
time. That was a big thing. That's his sore spot
But how
right
you
now.
going- but that's my thing.
How'd
That's
you
why-
not
and
make the
again,
top 100 if you're the
I don't know.
1A
I don't know.
receiver?
All right, exactly. Go ask Joe Horgan, the guys that blue,
yes.
blue
Joe
panel,
Horgan?
Yeah,
that 26 panel blue ribbon.
We don't know
panel.
That's his
about all
favorite
that kind of
topic.
stuff.
That's his favorite
I mean,
topic
I think that's disrespectful. I think you should be in it. But there was a theory that you had earlier. I remember listening to you on where you said that the best receivers are white guys. Did they help you win the Super Bowl the best?
What?
Can you expound on that?
Who won the Oscars? Anybody? Who won the Oscars?
shout out to our one boy Matthew Cherry who won the
Hey,
Oscar.
everybody watching, please tune in to get your popcorn ready with T.O. and Hatch.
Hashtag GPR.
Exactly.
Matt,
On the Himalaya app or wherever you get your podcast.
Matt does movies. You did a few movies.
I do.
Right?
I
executive produced a few films.
Yeah, I produced Crew with Keith Robinson and Richard T. Jones, and we swept the ABFF that year. So it was a critically acclaimed movie. Did a movie called Take.
Takers.
The Take.
The
Yep.
Take, yeah.
Brad Furman directed that with John Leguizamo, Tyrese. Rosie Perez was a beast in it. Bobby Cannavale. So yeah, I like to be on the other side of the camera. I've done some on camera stuff, but I like to kind of put the whole project together.
I love Rosie Perez, and I say this in the most respectful way possible. The reason I love her is because she was like the first titty
Side titty
that people saw. No, not the side. On Do the Right Thing, where Spike Lee was rubbing the ice on.
White Man Can't Jump.
Man, and you
That's
just
the first titty you ever saw.
White Man Can't Jump in when she was wearing the tank
was
top.
beautiful, too.
And you saw that side titty.
But as a young man, as a young boy,
As an 8-year-old, you was like, that's
man,
my first titty. That's
You
my-
were 8 when that happened?
I don't know. I was like, eight.
around. Well,
What year was that?
I was 30. This is what?
You was 30 when Do the Right Thing came out?
No, I'm saying you're probably
Oh.
30 something. I'm saying it's
No,
probably 30 years
41.
ago. It was probably 30 years ago. So he's close to 8.
Wait, when was White Men Can't Jump?
I was
When you could
80?
not,
yeah.
I was 80. I was born in
T.O. said when you
83.
couldn't jump.
It was for you. For you, it was this
He said
morning.
for you, it's every day.
Dunk on you, bro. I will dunk on you any day of the week.
No, you cannot.
92.
92. Yeah, that's a minute ago. Yeah, 30 years.
Bro, you don't understand. My athleticism is deceptive because of the color of my skin. Okay? But I have you know that I will yam it in your
Have
face.
you ever seen him play basketball?
I saw him play against Jay Williams. I seen him play. He put stuff up on Instagram.
Come on,
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Come on, it's light work for me.
Are there any
This is-
white
this
players
is a
you respect,
habit.
T.O.?
The one
Oh,
that
yeah,
get all the
yeah.
rings, the wide receivers that get all Chris Hogan.
I respect Edelman because of his
Edelman,
story.
Welker.
I love Edelman's story.
That's
like I said,
it.
just to be, like I said, a quarterback at Kent State, free agent, wasn't supposed to make it. And for him to do the things he's done as far as his career,
to be
I definitely
one of the
respect
greatest
Edelman.
wide receivers ever.
You can't say that. You
I'm
can't
just
say he's
saying,
one of
the ones that
greatest.
win the rings.
That's a whole different
It's white
category.
privilege, I guess.
That's hilarious.
No, the white privilege is when he jumped on the hood of that car after the Super Bowl. Nobody
thought
gave
it
it
happened.
happened.
Right. He thought, you're right. But if that would have been AB, they'll still be talking about it.
He'd be in jail.
Right now.
Yeah, he'd be in jail right now for that.
What's going on with AB right now?
Don't change the subject. That too is white privilege.
Exactly. See? You see
He got hot.
But that's what happened.
He got hot.
That's
He got
exactly
hot over here for a second.
Right, but that's
Trying to
exactly
get off the topic.
Dude. Right, but that's
Get off the
exactly what
topic.
happens in mainstream media.
What does
They
the
talk
mainstream
about-
media do?
What you just tried to sweep it.
Coronavirus.
Just tried to sweep it under the rug. Like he
change the
hasn't done anything.
Coronavirus, Dio.
But
Who
then
started the coronavirus?
But you want to highlight
Donovan
AB.
McNabb? Is that why he was throwing up in the huddle?
But you want to highlight AB.
What?
What? See what I'm talking
Because
about?
AB's a loser, dude. He's a loser.
You want to bring a white man out there.
AB.
No, he's not.
He's a loser. Yes, he is.
No,
He
don't
threw
say
away
that.
his whole shit.
Don't say that,
he
dude.
not a
Sometimes,
loser.
but first of all, sometimes
Hold
it's
on.
not
You
about the
can
money.
criticize Donovan McNabb
But
for
it-
boozing before the
Bro,
Super Bowl, but not
but-
AB for
'cause I
throwing away
know-
his whole career.
right,
He
because
didn't,
I know-
wait.
I know
Why did
him.
he throw it away? He has played like 9-10 years already. He's had a career. What are you talking
Right.
about? Threw it
I
away.
think he was arguably the best. He was at least top 3 wide receiver in the game,
I agree with that.
and he could have made.
Oh, so you wanted him to go 20 years? You wanted him to play 15? Maybe he was done. Maybe he had. Maybe
he's
he had
out
enough-
there begging Tom
No,
Brady
he's
to
not.
bring
No,
him
he's
back
not.
to miss you, bro.
But he's already had his career.
Miss
though.
ya.
You see what I'm saying? So he's cool.
But he's not cool.
We
He
have
wants
to admit
back,
he did
bro.
mishandle the last
Absolutely,
year.
I agree with that.
That's all I'm
100.
saying.
Yeah, he mishandled the last
And we
year.
can be critical when people mishandle. Tio, we're gonna talk about you in a second, man. Come back. Anytime it's not about him, you're on his phone, Googling himself. What am I doing today? What's going on over here?
His own
I got some
calendar.
followers. What's on my Instagram? Why don't I just DM? Hey, Tio, pay attention to what's going
Yeah,
on.
because he's disrespecting AB. I mean, this guy.
He disrespect himself, bro.
No, I'm not condoning what
last
he.
year he has
I'm not.
mishandled
Right,
the situation.
I'm the biggest AB fan before all this nonsense.
I'm not condoning what he's done, but again, everybody has
up to him.
made some mistakes. He's
up to him.
made a handsome number of them. Does he probably need to get some help in some way, shape, form, or fashion? Absolutely. Has he mishandled some of those things, which we just agreed to? Absolutely.
But he didn't throw his career away.
I wouldn't say that he threw his career away.
If he has, I'm talking about
If he doesn't play,
the chance to play again, I think he's thrown that away.
I think
No.
he's thrown that away too.
That's all I'm saying. Not what he's done prior.
I think
just
that
a chance to play again.
I think that he still has an opportunity to play. You're looking at 32 teams. He just needs to play for one team.
He'd have to be perfect for these next 6 months.
Trust me.
His
And
image
even
would
if
have
he
to be
were to get
flawless for these
signed,
next
there's
6
going to be a
months.
lot of stipulations that goes
that
into
contract.
that contract.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again,
But we
and
forgive
know-
everybody
right,
in
and he
sports. He
knows,
could
but
if he wanted to.
he knows that. I'm an AB fan, like I said, and he knows. I've gone to his house. I don't condone the conduct in which he's shown over the last few months, and I've even said that to him to his face. He knows that. I'm a realist. I went to talk to him as a person, as a man, as a friend, regardless of everything that's going on around him, because clearly he didn't have the people around him to steer him in the right direction.
You didn't like the language he was using towards his baby mom.
That, and then in front of your kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So again, you got to, at some point, like I said, you have to be a grown up. You have to be an adult. You have to be a father. You have to be something that you didn't experience and what you didn't have. And as I mentioned earlier, like I said, we both share that same space. We didn't have fathers in our life, but we can make our kids' lives better by being something and doing stuff that, you know, our dads didn't.
Let me stay right there on that father piece, right? So how do you know it's right if you've never seen it?
That's real.
Right, because as a lot of African American dads, right? That's the whole. Well, how do you know it's real? Your dad wasn't around, but I mean, like, how?
But
do you
some
know
things are just common sense.
Oh, yeah,
Some things are just common sense. Like I said, even women that have kids for the first time, they may not have had a mom, you know, growing up. But they understand they have to be a mother to their kids. They find a way. They figure it out.
At the end of the day, you got to be a person, right? Like at the end of the day, you have like a basic set of morality that you should live by. I don't think it's that hard to just be like a decent human being,
But
you
still got to know.
My father had a horrible father.
But you got to know what right or wrong
between
is.
right or wrong
and sometimes
is.
you can learn just as much from right as wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's
you know
fair.
what I
So
mean?
sometimes if you at least have a horrible example, you know what not to do.
Absolutely.
If you have a great example, you know what to do. But if you have
Absolutely.
no example whatsoever,
You just kinda like,
you're kind of like, what do I do? Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Right, you have kids?
No, not yet.
He's still wearing condoms.
No, I don't do that.
You don't.
I don't wear
both.
Yeah, T.O. Come on,
I'm not giving him that.
Come on, bro. Come on. Don't leave me hanging, bro. Come on. You know what else they shouldn't leave hanging? Them passes I'm about to intercept if I guard you. That's a fact. You leave that shit hanging, that's getting snatched right out the air, dog.
Get your man.
Look at this. You see that, bro? You see that? He can't even look in his direction. You know who else shouldn't look? The quarterback, because that shit getting intercepted. Don't look over here.
Is it really
This
a thing that
Schulte
you don't like to
Island.
wear condoms?
Really?
T.O. like, fuck that, I want no interception.
Really? Hey, give your boy some dap, dog.
T.O., I need some dap, bro.
We trying to get some sponsors for the show.
I have some kids.
We had a condom
Why,
sponsor.
we trying to get
He's
some
like,
shit?
no, we don't want it.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
You don't believe in condoms, bro?
You listen to this dude. You see, listen to this dude. Look who he's befriending. This cornball over here.
Listen,
They should be doing a podcast.
we really should.
Y'all do too. Y'all two do a podcast.
It should be called Fast Guys.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
No, I'm gonna tell you what's happening right now. He doesn't know what to do with his hand. See, black people, we know how we missed the dap, like you know, like.
Like something, right? We did
They
something.
don't know what to do.
No.
Right. If I
You gotta
take it
stay
back,
right
it's
there,
my life
dog.
over.
And he got
You
it
gotta
straight
stay right
like
there.
that. Like
Come on, dog.
a straight dap.
That's it, bro.
Hey, look, I got
Come
here.
on,
I got
dog.
here.
Listen,
Here,
listen.
open your
Oh,
hand.
thank you, bro.
There you
Appreciate
go.
that.
There you go.
I
There
got
you
you,
go.
my man.
There
I
you go.
got you.
When you're ready to have some
Right?
waters
Black
open and
History
every
Month. That's
thank
illegal.
you so much,
When you
man.
talk about language, right? A big thing that happened over the weekend, because you said you didn't like the way Antonio talked about his baby mom.
No, yeah, I mean, especially in front of his kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about Snoop talking
About
to Gayle King
Gayle?
like that?
Was it appropriate? No. Do I feel like she deserved it? Yes.
Okay.
Oof.
Considering how the interview went.
Got you.
Did you see the whole interview?
Nobody's seen the
Right, I haven't
entirety.
seen the whole
They saw
interview.
like two,
Sometime
like they said it was a 5-minute interview, and
Yeah, I
2
saw the
minutes of
5
it
minute.
was about Kobe
saw
and
the
his
whole thing?
I saw the 5 minute, 36 second.
and his transgressions. And the thing is, like, Kobe was never convicted of anything. Right. Kobe admitted to his wrongdoings. He apologized to her. He apologized to his wife, and that's where it should have lied, and that's where it should have ended. And he's moved on, and he's been a better person from that. You haven't heard of Kobe doing the same thing. This wasn't an R. Kelly situation. Gail knew better than that. She's a journalist. Like, going into to an interview like that, you know what questions you have. Whether, they were approved by the network producer, whatever the case may be. Even if you have some type of moral compass, going to that, and Lisa, you're asking Lisa Leslie.
Why are you asking Lisa Leslie?
That was
they were best friends.
Yeah.
That
They
was
was like real close friends.
Right.
Grew up in LA,
That
played
was-
ball together, the Sparks and Lakers.
But what
Right,
does
so-
she have to do with that interaction? She wasn't
even
there.
with
She
some
doesn't
type
know
of-
anything. Like
some type of moral compass, you be like, okay, I'm not asking that. You know what I mean? My thing is, I'm looking at the interview. I'm thinking initially, okay, it's a reflective piece about, like you said, the relationship, them being Lakers the same time, the bond, his career, things of that nature. She went into it like it was a 30 for 30 or some type of documentary piece, and you're digging up dirt. And then the fact that she can't, it almost seemed personal when she was like, well, Lisa, you wouldn't know that, would you?
Yeah.
That
Gail wouldn't know that
another
either.
dig low.
right. That seemed personal to me. So again, when you think about like something, like I said, she deserved the backlash that she's gotten. And as Bill Bellamy said, number one, she's black. You would think going into a situation like that, take care of us, because they take care of them. Why not take care of us?
Yeah, I
in
think
that situation.
I think I can see where the anger, came from. I think
Right.
the anger was warranted. I don't know about the language.
But that's
Though.
but that's who you, but that's
and I'm gonna come see you.
but that's
Another
what.
big bunch. She's 65 years old. Like,
Right.
But I'm not
and you're
condoning.
not going to come see her.
But I'm not.
She don't know that.
But
Stop
don't- she
it.
don't-
Stop
she
acting
don't-
tough on fucking Instagram. You're 100.
It's not him. It's what about some of the younger dudes that respect Snoop.
100%.
I heard what he just said.
I'm gonna try to impress Snoop. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
Right, so I'm
life
not-
is in
right, so I
danger.
don't
No, I agree. I just think
that
I agree.
part
I
of
think
it,
it's
because Matt
stupid to even
Barnes
say
chimed
it.
in.
Matt
And
Barnes.
when Matt Barnes chimed
absolutely.
in, Matt really will come see.
Yeah, he will.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And he's got that
So
same-
like,
it's that same energy.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, you don't want anything to escalate to that point to where
You want her to understand
somebody
that
is
you
hurt.
can't do that.
Yeah.
But that's where the love for Kobe is
Right now, especially.
right now. And then just like I said, the timing of it. The guy hasn't
I
even
don't
been
like the timing
buried
of that.
yet.
Yeah.
Just the timing of it. And then just for his wife, for the sake of his wife and his kids. And then you start digging up stuff. Like I said, he wasn't even convicted.
I will say though, her two questions weren't bad questions.
I'm not
what were
saying,
the questions?
but it was the way she responded.
Yeah, it was the pushback.
The rebuttal.
What was the original
One was,
question?
people say his legacy is complicated. Do you think
Because
it's-
of X, Y, Z,
Exactly.
because of
and
the
Lisa was like, it's not complicated for me at all. She answered
all,
it.
right.
The next one was, should people even be talking about this? Should this even be a topic of conversation? Which also Lisa knocked out the park with an answer.
Right.
So those two questions weren't bad questions. It was just the pushback though.
Yeah, she kept saying
Right,
like more
kept
and more
digging
and more
and digging.
digging.
Like I said, I think that's
Wait,
what
that's what people are upset about?
that's what people are outraged about because
she was
of
digging.
in which the manner that she, again, the pushback.
Yeah.
When Lisa gave her every opportunity to button it up when she gave her answers, and she kind of just left it at that. But then again, there was some comeback
Yeah,
to
the
it.
case wasn't dismissed because
Blah,
the woman
blah,
didn't show up. Like it was always another.
Right, but there's a reason. As I'm saying, this is not a documentary piece.
Just go on.
Like
to the
what
next
is the
part.
what is
What
what
we
was the
talking
nature
about?
of the interview about?
Yeah.
Like just like this. It
Well, they
wasn't
want their
the-
clicks.
It wasn't the.
They got
yeah.
their clicks. They're
Right,
in the
I got
click
it.
business.
And that's
But
that's
to
what
your
Snoop
point-
is saying.
right,
If you're
to-
doing this for clicks, don't do this off of Kobe's name.
Right, exactly.
That's
That's
what he's
reasonable. I definitely think the criticism is reasonable. I do think that there's like this like weird racial component kicked in where like you can't. It was like you're somehow. I don't know. You're somehow like going against your own if you're asking a question about someone's past that is incriminating, and I don't think that's necessarily fair. I mean,
But
that's context too. Oprah and Gail.
Oprah
So
and
people
Gail.
look at Oprah and Gail and they think Oprah only targets black men
to bring
that
them
have been
down,
accused of
but
these
you
things.
haven't did that with Harvey Weinstein, which is also
Oprah-
the Jeffrey
way worse than all
Epstein.
of these.
Gail worked with
you don't
Charlie
think-
Rose. She worked
No,
for
of
Les
course,
Rosevez. You know what I
Why
mean?
are you
but
not
like,
talking
you don't
about
think that they've tried to get Harvey Weinstein for an interview? Like, I think
They
everybody
didn't
on
get
the earth
Kobe
has
for an
tried.
interview. They
Well,
got
of course,
somebody.
Kobe
They
is-
got her friend.
Right, her
And that's
so
what
you're
I'm
saying
saying. Why
they
didn't you
should've
get
got-
Harvey Weinstein's friends and get on there and talk about
That's a
Harvey
great
Weinstein?
question.
Well,
you
no,
don't
Gail
think
did
that's
interview
a great-
Harvey's lawyer.
Oh, she did.
She did interview Harvey's lawyer.
And what'd she say?
I don't know. I don't remember the interview, but she did interview Harvey's lawyer. That was like in November, October. It was like during the fall of last year.
Yeah.
But I think there's also people have seen Gail
But
come to
was
the
there was there any
Feedback.
Yeah.
exchange like it was with Lisa?
Yeah.
With,
I
with the
would like
lawyer?
to see that interview.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
To
think
see
it
if
would be the same.
dig.
Yeah, and people and
And it's a lawyer too.
Yeah, and there's video of Gail, you know, kind of like defending Charlie Rose.
Right,
kind of defending.
It's the body language.
And
It's
Al Franken, she didn't do that. No type of defending.
That's what I'm
for
saying.
Kobe.
She could see the benefit of the doubt with those situations.
Right, but you can't see the benefit of the doubt with Kobe.
Yeah.
And the fact that again, like the thing is Kobe there was no repeat of his mistakes.
Right. He made
and he admitted to his wrongdoing. Like his marriage was on the brinks. He apologized to his wife, and since then he's made good on that. Whatever their talks were to move forward and be a best to be a best husband and a father, he had done that.
So maybe the criticism is reasonable. I mean, I tend to defend my Nubian queens, but you know.
Well, listen, I'm the first person to tell people you can't tell somebody how to react, but I can tell somebody if they went too far. You know what I'm saying?
Too far.
Like right now, if T.O. was to get up and slap Andrew, I'd be like, yo, T.O., cool out. There ain't no need.
Like, I get it.
You think
he's going to went too far.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I understand why.
You went too far.
You think his 4'6" running ass is going to be able to catch me?
I'm on the edge of my seats over here. I'm
going to be on the edge.
I'm on the edge of my
seat. If you sitting deep, I'm gone. You're going to be right on the edge.
Hey, you better be thankful for your new podcast partner right here separating us.
Listen,
because I'm on the edge of my seat.
Damn, T.O., you breaking up another team?
Bro.
He done kicked me to the curb over here. You know what I mean? He kicking me to the curb over here.
How often does y'all podcast come out?
About a month ago, we just
I say how often? Once a week?
Every Tuesday. So every Tuesday,
Okay.
the podcast comes out.
Can we get you on there?
I'd love to pull up. Yeah, for sure.
Come on, if you ever in LA, man, for real.
Then on Thursdays, the YouTube portion of it comes out. So the video portion of it comes out.
So we do it every Tuesday. You can show up on Sunday. We'll do you on Sunday.
Perfect.
Ain't nobody gonna be there. Nobody gonna be there.
With T.O. and Matthew Hatchette.
Get your popcorn ready. Hashtag
Terrell
GPR,
Owens.
baby.
Yeah.
I want to thank y'all for coming, man.
Man, my mom
thanks.
appreciate you pronouncing my name right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you hadn't said it this morning, I would have been saying Terrell right now.
I know, because
Terrell like Cheryl. That will be stuck
I never
in my
thought
head
about
for
it.
now
It's
on.
T.O. You know what I'm saying?
Terrell like
But
Cheryl.
that's usually the default, you know, when people can't pronounce or they have some questions about what to call me, they just say T.O.
All right, hold on. Let's take a break. We got to pay some bills, all right? Let's talk about Boost Mobile. All right, some of y'all out there with the Boost Mobile phone right now, Boost Mobile. Okay, you finally have everything you could want in a wireless carrier. With no annual service contract, Boost Mobile offers a range of data plans and the latest phones from top brands at affordable prices. Their network is super reliable and super fast, so you can post up and watch the game, or you can even stream this podcast, The Brilliant Idiots, almost anywhere, okay? We all know smartphones are expensive. Wouldn't it be nice to not force the family to wrestle over one phone? Step up with Boost Mobile and you can get 4 free Samsung Galaxy A20 phones when you switch. And if you switch to Boost Mobile today, you'll get 4 lines for just $25 per line per month. Step up with Boost Mobile and switch today. If you want a super reliable, super fast nationwide network to keep you connected, switch now to Boost Mobile. Now, limited time offer. While supplies last, new customers only, requires port and activation from eligible carrier, 1 free device per line. Users using more than 35 gigabytes of data during a billing cycle may be deprioritized during times of network congestion. Offers and coverage not available everywhere. Visit boostmobile.com or retailer for full details.
This episode is also brought to you by Mercari. Guys, it's 2020. Guess what? All that stuff in your home that you didn't use in 2019, yeah, it's still there. It's taking up space. It's making your apartment look smaller and smaller. It's making your house look smaller and smaller. Remember that beautiful big house that you bought or rented or living in? Remember that gorgeous room that you got in before you moved all that nonsense in there? Yeah, you can get back to that. And you can make money doing it by selling your stuff on Mercari. It's the selling app that makes selling almost anything fast and easy. Here's where you begin. Just go through your home, find all the stuff you didn't use in 2019, the phone in the drawer, those jeans, the ones you wore only once, that handbag in the back of your closet. You go get that stuff. All right, the listing takes only minutes. Take a few pics, add a description, boom, your item's connected to millions of buyers on the app. It's free money, literally free money. Just go do it. Go get money for the things you don't even use. Mercari's even going to email you a shipping label when it sells. You don't even have to get your own shipping label. I don't even understand why I have to convince anybody to do this. This is no nonsense. It's the perfect solution. Go get some free money. Everything ships, so there are no awkward meetups with strangers. The app has over 500,000 reviews on the App Store with a 4.8 star rating, so why not give it a try? Ring in the new year with less stuff in your home, more money in your pocket with Mercari. That's Mercari, Mercari, the selling app. Let's get back to the show.
Do you feel like you missed out on the social media era?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man.
Because as I alluded to earlier, the things that were going on, like I said, it's just like that.
You kind of
interview.
were the social media era in a way.
But it's just like we were just talking about the interview with Gail and Lisa. If you don't see the entirety of the interview, then all you have to go by is the clip. That edit of that whole clip. And that's what happened when I tried to explain
No. You know what I'll
my
say?
side of the story.
This is
like
interesting.
I've done, like I said, hour and a half sit downs of whatever the situation was. But you
only get their edit version.
Right, but the world doesn't see the entire hour and a half. They only see like 5-10 minutes of what they show in clips from that interview. They did me a disservice. So again, to be in an era now where you have to have the social media platforms and have a voice, where again back then we were voiceless almost. We were at the mercy of what was of the media.
Yes.
So again,
you couldn't control your own narrative.
Right,
back
exactly.
then.
And then like I said, you talk about the Skip Bayless, bro. They liars. Like I said, could I have handled some things differently? Absolutely. But I wasn't, and I didn't do the things that they said I did. To be a disruption in the locker room and say that I was that on every team, you would have to really go in that locker room and talk to all 53 guys. And if there's a large percentage of guys in every locker room, then okay, I'll agree with you. I was a distraction. But you can't talk to a coach here behind closed doors, getting a little sound bite for your story, or a player here that may not have liked me or what have you, and then say they speak for the locker room. That's what they did for the majority of my career. So yeah, I definitely, I would have flourished, thrived in an era like this, especially with all these social media platforms.
What would you have done on social media that year you got suspended from the Eagles? I would have tried to really explain my side of the story. So again, like I said, Donovan got mad because of a clip that I had done with Graham Bensinger. I met this dude. He was in high school when I was with the San Francisco 49ers. Met him coming out of the locker room after a game. He was in high school. He said, "I'm gonna be a journalist one day. Like, will you give me an interview?" I was like, "Yeah." Didn't think too much of it. Fast forward to 04 or whatever it was, 04, 05. He goes to Syracuse or whatever. Now he's working for ESPN. He reaches out. He's like, "Yo, T, remember you told me in high school I could do an interview?" I did the interview. I granted the guy the interview. They asked me a few questions here and there. One of his questions was, our record was like 4-3 at the time. And so I don't know why he asked the question, but he's like, and we got to talking about Brett Favre and some other quarterbacks. So he's like, what do you think about Brett Favre? I was like, yo, he's a great quarterback. He's like, man, if you had Brett Favre as a quarterback, do you think you guys would be a better team or something right now? So I said, yeah, I would agree with that assessment. Just giving respect, not discounting McNabb, but I was giving kudos to and respect to Brett Favre and what he's done. So that soundbite created a firestorm the next day. Oh, Terrell says something about Donovan McNabb, throws him under the bus, this and that. And that's where things kind of went downhill. And they didn't see the entirety of the interview because I said it easily because Donovan had been injured that year. I said easily, if Donovan wasn't hurt, we would easily be sitting here 6-1 because we got beat by Pittsburgh like bad that year. So we were 4-3. I said we could easily be 6-1 right now if Donovan wasn't hurt. But nobody ever read or never heard of none of the good stuff that I was saying. They just went off the edit, a little bit of the transcript, and that's where things went downhill. Because if it bleeds, it leads. So I got to go with the negative.
Right.
But they suspended you for a whole year for that?
Yeah, after 7 games, I had played like 7 games, and then things kind of just started. Yeah, that kind of just kind of unraveled. And then Donovan, like I said, we had just come off the Super Bowl year. I went into training camp. That was the year that I did the sit-ups. Me and Andy had a disagreement at practice. He sent me home. And so the reason I did the whole sit-up thing, because he's like, yo.
That's when you was in your driveway working out.
Yeah. So he was like, go home. And he's like, we'll see you when we get back to Philly. Yeah, make sure you keep yourself in shape or whatever. So I got back to Morristown from Lehigh. It was an hour and a half, 2 hours, I think. I'm in my house. I wasn't thinking nothing of it. Didn't know what to do. Next thing I know, I hear helicopters going around the house. Then I look out the blinds. I got media trucks in the yard, and then they start knocking at the door. So I looked at it, left. They kept knocking. So I just tried to appease the media, tried to have fun and make light of the situation. So again, I remember Andy said, "Oh, make sure you work out." So that's why I brought the bench out, just to say, "Okay, Andy, I'm working out." So
you were doing it to be funny.
Yeah, I just tried to make light of the situation. So I didn't think too much of it. And then, like I said, the rest is history.
Is that really the only reason they suspended you? Just because you said something about Donovan McNabb?
Yeah, because Donovan, like I said, at that point, it got so bad. And Donovan wanted me, like, I made a public apology, got through my publicist, wrote something out, read it. So the thing was, she had sent it via fax, sent it to the training room, to the equipment room. So they got it. So whoever got the fax, they saw what was on there. So I went to the team captains. One of the guys was Jeremiah Trotter. I was like, I said, I got to go do a press conference. This is what I got to read, blah, 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 blah. So I showed it to Trotter. He read it. And it's basically was saying, I apologize to the organization. It has some personal thing, pointing out, singling out Donovan, this and that and that. So Trotter was like, don't do this, don't do that. So that's what I did. Team captain, he read it. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, okay, I can see why he say take that out because I apologize to the team and the organization. He's part of the team. Why single him out individually? So that's what I did. And so then it got back to the coach or whatever after I had done the press conference and up top that I didn't read out the entirety of what was sent over. So then talked to Andy Reid. He wanted me now to make another apology in front of the team to Donovan. I'm like, nah. Like,
that's why they suspended you.
So why do I gotta specifically point him out? I was like, I apologize to everybody. The organization.
But you pointed him out initially in the interview, even though the question was asked to you, but you still singled him out.
The media singled him out. I'd say it wasn't a direct knock.
Why not just
him.
apologize?
No, because I already did that. If I apologize, I included.
I think you're right, Matthew.
But
at the time,
just let it go. Just apologize. Who gives a fuck?
But at that time, I didn't see a need. What am I apologizing for?
Doesn't matter.
Because of his feelings.
Yes, because of his feelings. That's why we apologize.
So what about my feelings?
Who cares? Win a Super Bowl.
Okay, it doesn't matter. He didn't need me the year before.
You don't care about his feelings?
No, I care about winning Super Bowls.
Okay, if that's
just
okay.
Apologize to the quarterback.
Okay,
if the quarterback's a baby, you're not a baby.
Okay,
you
well,
know
be
that
honest.
the baby needs to be nurtured. So nurture the baby. Give him a titty. Let him get some milk.
If it was a white quarterback, I wouldn't have apologized. Being it was a black quarterback.
But
If it was you, I wouldn't apologize.
But I get that. But at this point in time, things had gotten so bad. Like I said, he had already showed his true colors toward me, and even even people in the organization that worked at, they even pointed out things that I was oblivious to.
Yeah, it's all
so
bad.
at this point, I'm like, nah. So it wasn't just that isolated incident to where I'm like, I felt like I couldn't apologize to him. Maybe on different circumstances, had it been like a one-off, then yeah, I would have been man enough to do it. But it was things that led up to the point of like, nah.
Is this after you challenged him to a fight?
Yeah, this was after that.
Oh, okay.
So this was
a bad relationship.
Right. So at this point, it was after that, and so he was trying to throw his weight around at this point in time, asking Andy, I need a public apology in front of the team. No, I'm not doing that. And then when I didn't do it, Andy, they was going to Washington that following week. He goes, okay, I'm gonna sit you out. We'll address it. This and that and the other. But I 100% guarantee, Donovan went there and was like, no, I don't want to play with him. It's either me or him.
You think it was jealousy? You think both of y'all had an ego? He was used to being the guy, and you became the guy?
There was no ego with me, bro. Like he said earlier, he alluded to, like, I couldn't have done the things that I did on the football field without the quarterback. And no matter what the situation was, I didn't take it onto the field. No matter what. When we in between the lines, that's my guy. But he didn't seem to be that way.
And everybody's not on your team. Everybody's not going to be that way.
So again, like I said, I never had any hate toward Donovan. No envy, no nothing. Based on, again, like I said, I'm sure a lot of things.
We got to get Donovan on the show.
A lot of things. Right,
Yeah,
but I guarantee a lot of things that factored to him being in Philly and the way they didn't embrace him. When he came out and there was a pick between him and Ricky Williams. They wanted Ricky Williams. They ended up getting him and they booed him, this and that and the other. And the way when I came over from San Francisco, they lit up the city. They embraced me. I scored a touchdown. You got the whole stadium chanting my name. That couldn't have set well with him. But that's not my fault. That's crazy. That's not my problem. And these are things that were brought to my attention.
It's his house. He moved into his house.
But these are things that were brought to my attention that they felt that rubbed him the wrong way.
Very weird relationship for a quarterback and wide receiver to have, though, because he's throwing you the touchdown.
Bro, trust me.
It's a team game.
When I came over there, I already knew what the stigma was for me coming over there. That, oh, he's disruptive. He's going to be causing problems. This, that, and the other. I didn't come over there with no ego. I even said in my press conference, I said, look, I'm not coming here to steal anybody's thunder, anybody's limelight. They brought me over there because of what I've done. They didn't get, they had 4 chances to get beyond the NFC Championship.
You sure this wasn't about women? Y'all wasn't fighting over the 5 or 6 tens in Philly?
Right.
Again, women, no.
Playing Taylor.
But again, it was nothing like that, dude. Trust me, when I saw him, met him at the Pro Bowl the year before when I was with the Niners.
You're not a threat then. Of course, it's all good then. You're not a threat.
And then when I got over there, it was a different story. Bro, if Donovan was sitting here right now, I would say the exact same thing that I'm saying right now, bro.
Is that true, Donovan?
Yeah.
Same thing right now, bro. That's on, bro. That's on.
Maybe
everything.
y'all need a conversation, man.
Bro,
You know why I say that? No need to go to the grave with stuff like this. When you look at like what happened with Kobe, God bless the dead, and you see how Kendrick Perkins reached out to Kevin Durant, like all of this stuff is just
like
sports at the end of the day. Shaq and Kobe,
thinks about all the time he wasted.
Shaq's crying like, yo, we didn't get a chance
But
to
I don't
do
feel
this and that.
no, I don't.
You don't
we
feel
never,
it today.
We
but
never
if
really
something
had a
would've happened.
relationship like that.
But you're still upset, dude. You've been talking about it for like 30
no,
minutes.
you guys are talking about it. So I'm just giving you. I'm just giving you. I'm just
we
giving
talked
you.
about it already. You brought it back. I think you got a
didn't.
real
He
bone to
said- he
pick with
brought-
Donovan.
No, he's.
Don't bail him out.
I think
I don't
you're
even remember
emotionally-
how we got here.
We were wrapping up, and he was like, "One more thing about Donovan," and then yeah. So
brought who?
I think I might ask the
I think
question.
that there's something in here where you guys could.
Hey man, kill
listen,
yourself.
That's what we do here. That's what we do here. Kill yourself.
That's what we want to say
in
to
all
Donovan.
seriousness, a great podcast episode would you be? You guys talking? I mean that
But I
100%
don't know,
serious.
bro.
Bring him on the show.
Unreal
I don't-
content.
bro,
Over soup.
Unreal.
Sponsored by
soup.
Campbell's.
Wow.
They paid
Yes.
me then, yeah. But other than that, no, I don't see a need to, bro.
Content,
because
baby.
Again, no, I don't need no content, bro.
Well, then why
He's
you doing
trying
a
to stay.
podcast?
He's trying to stay relevant. I'm not.
Let it. No,
He the
don't
one.
talk
He the
about
one
it.
did the show with Master Chaz or Master
P, I don't
whatever
know,
it is.
somebody.
He did the untold stories, bro. I don't need to do that, bro. I
Yeah.
thought we had discussed it. I've seen him out. I thought it was cool
And stuff
So-
like that just helps the people who already try to paint a narrative of you being a negative teammate. That helps
It
them
helps
out when he
them
does
out.
stuff
Right,
like
So
that.
then
so at
get
the
him
end-
on there, call him out
I
on his
don't-
bullshit,
bro,
and
I
then
don't-
clear
I
your
don't-
name.
no, I
They're
don't
gonna be on
need
there
to, bro.
crying. I guarantee
No, I
it.
don't
They're gonna be
need to.
crying and hugging
They
each
are.
other. I guarantee
It's gonna be
I'm
brotherhood,
I'm
man.
gonna
I
play
don't
some
need to.
Amazing Grace in the background.
I don't need
Yeah.
to. Especially-
How sweet.
I don't need to.
The
Like I said, he had
sound
ample opportunities to be and speak politically correct when he needed to, but when it came to me, that wasn't the case. Even like I said, when my contract came up, Westbrook, he spoke, vouched for Westbrook to get his money, but when it came to my money, it was not. He didn't speak that way. You know what I mean? So, it's just me and you. It's me and you. So it's all good. They can go do their own podcast,
Question:
dog.
Does Jerry Jones?
We can do our own podcast.
Does Jerry Jones share his women?
Does he what?
Did he share his women?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm probably sure he does. I don't know.
He never passed them to the team. Like,
Jerry Jones.
Nah.
yeah, you never seen the pictures of Jerry Jones?
Women?
What?
You're right. It don't matter.
Let me show you the pictures. You don't remember this?
Right, but if that was somebody black owner doing what he doing, that'd be crucified.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's married. He'd be crucified.
He married.
You don't remember
Crucified.
these? You remember all the pics, man?
Crucified.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crucified.
Jerry. I never
Crucified.
seen these.
I know, cause y'all hang out together. Y'all don't never see. Y'all would never see nothing. Y'all wouldn't see nothing.
Your boss?
Wouldn't see.
Jerry don't share those with the team?
Maybe with Michael Irvin. I wasn't really. I wasn't like in the '90s. I wasn't one of his guys. I wasn't
You weren't
one
at
of
the
the
White
tri-
House? You
I
weren't at the
wasn't.
White
I
House?
wasn't part of the triple threat.
Oh, y'all never had a relationship? You didn't stay the night at Jerry's house? Like,
No.
Really?
No.
it was strictly business.
Man, I mean, I thought it was. I mean, if it was strictly business, I mean, he wouldn't have listened to Romo and Witten and Garrett to get me up out of there.
Hold on, so Romo, Witten, and Garrett are the reasons that you,
Oh, that's part of it.
after you cried?
Damn.
Trust me. Hey, it is what it is, bro. But like I said, I'm a
So
bad
hold on,
guy.
so
But I'm a
Romo-
bad guy, though.
I don't know. I gotta hear the whole
Yeah.
story.
But I'm a bad guy, though.
I gotta hear the whole story.
I'm
Romo,
gonna let somebody else. Let me have some other guys in here to tell the story.
So Romo,
because
Witten,
if you
and
tell,
Garrett-
I'm good.
you can't tell it.
I
That's
can't
what
tell.
you
It's not
can't
gonna
tell
be.
it.
It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be believable.
Well, why let someone else tell it? That's the
Because
issue.
they
It's
were
gonna
in
come
there
from a selfish point of view
Right,
if he
exactly.
tells
It's gonna
it.
come
But
from
the
another
fans
So what do
source.
you
legacy.
think? We want to hear your POV because they can
Yeah.
respond later. Why do you think Romo, Witten, and Garrett went to get you out of Dallas?
So after my third year, I had just got an extension. Jerry called me. I remember exactly where I was, high rise and on McKinnon. And so he called me, and this was right before they opened up in the Jerry's world. Yeah. So he kind of asked me, like, what do we need to get over the hump? By this time, like I said, this is, I think, Garrett's first or second year coaching. And so he asked me my honest assessment of what we need to do to get to that next level, try to get to the Super Bowl. I gave him that, and he was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm looking forward to, opening up the big stadium the next year.
What was your assessment, though?
That we need to kind of get more people involved. I think there were things during the course of that final year that I brought to the attention of some other guys, and they noticed it too, where, Romo was favoring, targeting Witten more so than other guys when other guys were open. And that's the thing. But I wasn't, but that's what I'm about. But before he said that, I was about to allude to, it wasn't even about me getting the ball.
So it was about two receiver.
It was about other guys, during the course of the game that were open, but he would throw in the double team coverage. We would point these things out in practice behind closed doors, and things that we had in discussion that between myself and Garrett and other guys, receivers, that we thought would never get out. And then somehow the next day, the media knows what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So there are things that I kind of made people aware of, and then I think after that,
Jerry took your assessment back to the team, and they was like, "No, he's the problem. Let's get him out of here."
So again, those are, like I said, those guys were part of the reason why I didn't extend, because I had just signed an extension. Mm-hmm. So if I was a problem, why did he give me an extension? And to what I talked about earlier on the show, when I got released, the NFL, they had to file a paper of why I was released. It didn't have anything to do with conduct detrimental and any other things that the boxes that were supposed to be checked. They checked performance based.
What was the performance thing?
I have no idea.
You said it on the Breakfast Club. You don't want to say it here because that's a straight alley-oop.
But my performance, like I said, I was one of the top. Like, I was the top receiver.
What was it? I'm back in the game.
Tell them what it was. Tell them what it was, Theo.
I performed like I was one of the top receivers in the league.
What was it, Matt?
Performance.
Get him the ball? Was it?
No, he was too slow.
It's because you were too slow.
Yeah, because he was.
It's because you were too slow.
You were trending down.
Gallop.
You lost a step.
You sound like Trump.
You were
Anything
trotting,
that comes
bro.
out of your mouth,
You were trotting, bro.
BS.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, just
Let
BS.
me tell you something. We didn't need a wall to stop you. Okay, you were stopping
Just
you.
BS. But to my point, like I said, those are some of the things, like I said, that happened. So again, like I said, if it was
all happened after that one conversation,
yeah, because.
So maybe
this was
Jerry
after the
took the conversation.
So this was after the season. So it had to be like December, like January.
Right.
So there was an owners meeting. I lived in Miami at the time. My agent lived in Miami. There was an owners meeting up in Fort Lauderdale. He called my agent and said, "Oh, we're going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Let's have a meeting." Blah blah blah. So my agent called me up and like, "Oh, we're going to be meeting Jerry and Steven at this hotel." Blah blah blah. And we thought more or less about moving in a direction for the next season. We got into the meeting. We sat down at the table. Jerry was here. I think Steven was there. I was here. And I think Drew and I think my other agent was sitting there. And so he started talking about the organization, kind of just isolating, things within the organization. Then he would put me over here in a category. So after he did all of that, he started writing on the table like Cowboys, T.O., Romo, T.O., like team, T.O., organization, everything associated with Cowboys on one side.
And you was on the other side.
So then he took out a pen, had the pen, and then he drew a line in between us.
That's Jerry Jones?
Yeah, he drew a line in between all that, and he said, "We're going to have to part ways." That's how I was cut.
Okay, so that conversation, right, when it sounds like when you were talking, he was taking what you were saying as you were putting yourself on that side.
No, but I never said that I was wanting the ball. When he asked me about the assessment of what we needed to do as an offense, as a team to move forward, I was giving him my honest assessment, but it wasn't about
Maybe
me
he didn't want honest.
But that wasn't
That's
my, right.
Like.
But I thought as me being one of the top players on the team, him being the owner, he was coming to me to get some feedback on what that we needed to do as a team and an organization.
You know, a black wide receiver will not have no weight when it comes to a white quarterback, a white franchise tight end, and a head coach.
But if he's calling me and asking me, like I said, I know how
he's not calling you for honest answers,
right? But I understand what he had done in the relationship that he had with like Charles Haley, the Emmitt Smiths, the Troy Aikmans. So I felt like, okay, I'm now one of those guys that he can lean on to get an honest assessment of what needed to be done to get to the Super Bowl. That's what they brought me to help to do. So that was really the nature of the conversation, and that's what I took from it. I wasn't thinking anything outside of that.
What did Drew say in that moment? Drew Rosenhaus.
Oh, when
y'all still friends?
No.
Not at all?
No.
You don't fuck with Drew?
No.
Really?
No.
He stood by you in a lot of hard times.
I mean, when you're getting paid, yeah, I'm pretty sure if I'm paying you, you stick by me too.
Mm-hmm. So you thought he was a friend?
No.
You never thought he was a friend?
At one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, then I never had anything bad to say about me, nothing while we were together. As soon as we parted ways, then he started saying this and that and the other. Oh, I was selfish. I was arrogant. Where was all of this from the beginning?
You were paying him.
Money.
Do you encourage people to sign with Drew Rosenhaus? Like if players ask you?
Money.
I would say no comment.
I fucked it up, bro. I had amazing grace.
Wait a minute.
I would just say no comment.
So if a player came to you and said, yo, I want to sign to Drew Rosenhaus.
I would say
I got it right.
No comment.
Why no comment?
I can't say anything about it.
Really?
Yeah, I just wouldn't say anything about it.
I mean, that's interesting. Only because during the NFL, he did stick by you. I guess.
If I'm paying you, then yeah.
Yeah.
Then if we never had any issues while we were together, then why, when we part ways, then you want to have negative things to say about me?
What made y'all part ways?
There is a number of reasons.
Give us a few.
Here we go.
We got some time.
No, I mean,
we got time.
There were some things that happened with my financial advisor, things of that nature. I can't really go into details or what have you.
He robbed you?
But at the end of the day, like I said, for me to have an agent, and suppose any agent for that matter, they're going to approach guys coming out of college, and I'm sure Hatch can attest to this too. They're trying to get your services. They're going to tell you, they're going to tell your parents, anybody that you surround, that those guys have surrounded themselves with, we're going to take care of him. We're going to have his best interest at heart. And so for me, you tell me that, you're telling my mom, or you look at my family, I take that in totality. Mm-hmm. So then you go and things happen awry, then outside of when it's like out of sight, out of mind. Then for me, when you're addressing and you're doing stuff for me, then you're helping my family at the same time. I think you have an allegiance, an alliance, or something toward my family at the same time. It's just not me that you're taking care of. So I take my family into account when I make a number of decisions. So when he doesn't take that into consideration, then you just got to move on.
How much did he steal from you?
I didn't say. I'm not going to say he. I'm not going to say.
How much went missing?
I'm not going to say what he's. I'm not going to say any of that. I can't really say. I can't really speak on it. But again, like I said,
you sued him or something?
If any guys were to ask me about anything about Drew Rosenhaus, I'd just be like, do your due diligence.
Wow.
But isn't he on record saying that he made you so much money?
I don't care what he said. He made me nothing.
What he took.
I made myself that money.
Right.
I worked for it. He maybe negotiated, but he ain't made me nothing.
Fair enough. He negotiated.
Right.
Right. I mean, if he stole from you, that's good information to put out there, because then other people can
you got to
stop
protect other players to you.
At the end of the day, like I said, I would tell guys to do their due diligence.
Right.
As far as whom they're
just go down right
retaining, who they're retaining as their representation.
Yeah, because I think he's the reason that AB really can't get another gig. Only because he's no longer and told him he need to get some help. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
and he put that out there. Tim is out there.
But he tainted the water.
But of course, again, everything was going well when AB was paying him that money. Like I said, he can't control the actions of AB, so that may have triggered or prompted him to do what he did as far as parting ways. But that's not on him. That's kind of like on AB too.
You had a $6.5 million lawsuit against Drew Rosenhaus. You had a 5 year. You had a 5 year. You was in court for 5 years with him because you accused him of giving you bad financial advice that cost you millions.
How much money he
sued
cost
for
you?
Fraud, breach of fiduciary duty and negligence.
Wow.
He introduced you
that's
to
a
a
journalist.
financial advisor named Jeff Rubin. Recommended you hire him to manage your money.
Whoa.
Rubin was later banned from the securities industry after putting several NFL players' money into a high-risk investment that lost over $40 million.
Whoa.
So it's a good chance that Rubin was kicking money
To Drew,
to Drew
100%.
on the back end.
So I'm not going to say anything bad. So to your point, you asked me if somebody would ask me about it. I said, do your due diligence.
Was that Madoff?
Yes.
Did you get fucked over in the Madoff thing?
No.
The Bernie Madoff thing?
No.
Was it a Ponzi scheme? The money that they were putting?
I don't know anything about no Madoff. I don't know if he was associated with that. Or if you asking if that's something similar.
I'm asking if that's where I would not be surprised if that's where they're putting your money.
Interesting.
Why'd you drop it, though? After 5 years battling him in court, why did you decide to drop the case?
I just had to it's not even worth the headache. It's just taking time out of my schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to lawyers, go do here, go this and that and the other. It just wasn't worth it. At the end of the day, like I said, I mean, trust
Fuck
me.
that. If that guy's a
karma
scumbag.
is everything, bro. Like I said, I know I'm not a bad person. Like I said, I know what the stigma is. I know what the perception is. But
Did
at
he
the
make
end
you
of the-
sign something that you can't speak bad
Yeah,
about?
I can't speak on it.
Yeah, because you probably hurt his business.
I can't speak on it.
Yeah.
So like I said, that's why, like I said, I'm careful at what I say. Like I said, I knew what you were getting at.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I would do your due diligence. Hatch's even asked me. He's asked me about certain players or whatever, what I thought about, Drew Rosenhaus or whatever, this, that, and the other. Like I tell him, do your due diligence.
Are there other players with similar stories?
Oh, of course. I'm sure.
Under Drew?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But what I know with Jeff Rubin, that situation, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, gotcha.
Most of Jeff Rubin's clients were Drew Rosenhaus clients.
Do you have anger towards any of them? Like if you saw Drew in the street right now or Jeff Rubin in the street right now?
No, like I said, I kill him with blindness. I just let it, and then
How do you kill him with blindness? Keep your shades on?
I just act like I don't know him.
Oh, got you. You don't see him. Okay, got you.
Right, yeah. I just act like I don't see him, bro. Like I said, bro, I know who I am. I'm not a bad person.
Yeah.
Regardless, like I said, at the end of the day, like I said, if I was that type of person that I've been portrayed to be over these years, it would have transferred to off the field.
It is my hope for Terrell Owens that you don't go to the grave with that narrative. At some point in time, you get to really tell your story, the real story.
I'm working on
T.O.
No, I'm working on some stuff. Like I said, I got a meeting next week in LA about a bigger documentary. I know I've done some stuff with we did a mini docuseries with the Players Tribune, and so with that, it was successful. The content, and then even with some of the things that have happened since then transpired, like me not making the top 100, all-time team, things of that nature, this Donovan stuff or what have you.
Have they done a 30 for 30 on you yet?
No, ESPN. I'm not finna give them free content.
I know what your doc should be called. But it's never my fault.
Yeah.
But I've never. But you assume that I feel like that it's not my fault. Like I've taken some accountability. Like I said, could I have done some things wrong? Yeah, I've said that.
What in the NFL did you do wrong?
What? Because I celebrated? Because I was outspoken? Is that wrong?
Sounds like you're defending yourself when
But
we
is
ask
that
you
wrong?
what you did wrong.
Right, but is that wrong?
Well, just tell us what you did wrong.
Yeah, what do you think?
Did you
Looking
do
back
anything?
in
Just say
hindsight.
nothing if you think
I
it's
just
nothing.
okay. Maybe I could have addressed the media a different way if I knew how to play the game to kind of, I guess, stay ahead or stay in good graces with the media. But that's not what I was about.
But did you do anything wrong? Because
No, I didn't. What did I do wrong? If you're asking me what did I do wrong, there's obviously something
I
that you
can't tell-
assume that
I
I
can't
did
tell
wrong.
you.
What
I
What
did
did
I
you do
do
wrong,
wrong?
Matthew? You're a wide receiver. You played in the league.
Too honest. Just too honest. That's it. People
But
don't
is
want
that
it. People
right?
don't. To some
But is
people
that
it
wrong?
is. To some people it's not. People don't want to
So
hear the truth
right,
a
is it-
lot of the time.
So in your assessment, in your opinion, is that wrong?
No.
it's not wrong if that's what the truth is.
Let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
What? Give me one thing that you thought T.O. did wrong in his career. Just give me one. One of the 20,000 that you did.
I'm not making the argument that he did anything wrong. I'm
Not
just
one thing at all. Not one. There's not one.
I'm not
thing
making
you
the
ever-
argument that he did.
I know. I'm
What-
asking a total separate question. I just
Oh.
want to know what's one thing that you thought that when you heard
Well,
of the last
wrong
20
and different are the one thing that I would have done differently if I was him. I'm not saying that he did anything wrong because I'm not in the situation to know what it is. So I can't claim what is right and wrong for you. One thing I would have done differently I would have just apologized to Donovan if he was being a
that one
fucking baby.
scenario? Okay.
Yeah, just
That-
apologize. He's like a baby. It's like,
Yeah,
do you know how
that could've
powerful
been.
an apology is? Like, you basically strip the person who needs it from all their power.
You don't apologize for them. You really apologize for you. When you
Yeah, it's like,
apologize.
all right,
I
just
wouldn't-
throw
I
me the
didn't-
ball. I'm sorry. You done? You done crying?
I wouldn't think that somebody of that caliber would need an apology. I
But
didn't
now
think
you
that he
know.
was.
At
I
the-
didn't
a
think at that
30-year-old
time he was.
He just asked me
Men
what
have
I would've
fragile
done different.
egos.
That's
Huh?
it.
Men have fragile egos.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I think
bigger the
everybody has
ego,
an
the
ego
more
at some
fragile the
point.
ego.
You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm sure. Yeah, did it surface during the course of my career? Yeah, but at the end of the day, you asked me, no, I have not done anything wrong, because everything that I've been criticized for and vilified for, they're now embracing. Being outspoken, they're embracing that.
I wouldn't have worked out in front
I'm
of the
not
media.
talking to you right now.
I know you're not.
You're talking to you. Scoring touchdown and celebrating. I was criticized for that. Guess what they're doing? They're embracing that now.
Right.
So yeah, I haven't done anything wrong, but in the eyes of many at that time, yeah, they didn't know how to view what I was doing.
A lot of what you were doing was marketing, though. Like the whole two popcorn thing. I mean, it's got a whole podcast years later named
get
after.
your
You know what I'm
popcorn
saying?
But I was trying to, like I said, at that time, like I said, being creative, that was motivation for me to get into the end zone. I knew that I couldn't do all those things if I didn't score. And then, like I said, it became a topic around the league where guys were, mad at me for celebrating or scoring or dancing.
Yeah. And
To
now it's
where some
celebrated.
guys on the same team, I'm like, bro, if you don't like it, then stop him from getting in the end zone. So is that wrong? No. But to a lot of people, based on how the narrative was created, yeah, I'm a bad person. I'm a disruptive guy. I did this. I did that. So yeah,
I hated you when you stood on the star
Right,
in
so
Cowboy Stadium.
it's not that I'm
That is the
never
number one
wrong.
celebration ever.
Yeah, but I was a Cowboy fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like my father said, if you don't like him standing in the star, stop him.
Yeah, don't let him get in the end
You know
zone.
what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
There it is.
thank you.
Get
Terrell
your popcorn
Owens,
ready.
Matthew Hatchette.
Get your popcorn ready.
Get your popcorn ready podcast available wherever you can get podcasts. Thank y'all for coming, man. Really appreciate
Man, I appreciate
you.
that. Yeah,
Absolutely. And it's the Brilliant Idiots podcast. As always, if you think we're smart, you think we're intelligent, you think we're brilliant, you're absolutely right. If you think we're just a couple idiots who don't know shit, you're right too. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you, Andy. That was your cue. That was your cue.
For what?
When he said we think we're idiots and you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no, I'm the idiot.
That's what
And
he
you don't
said.
know what you're
That was
talking
your
about. Yeah,
cue.
that was your cue.
Oh, that I say something. I got you. Got you. I messed up.
See, he's an idiot.
See how I did that?
Brilliant, though. Brilliant.
I messed up. You see
No,
how I
it was
did that?
good.
I
Hey,
messed
it was
up.
a pleasure, bro. It was a pleasure.